When it comes to living a peaceful and purposeful life, one thing can sabotage all your efforts faster than you'd think: the people around you who drain your energy, muddy your thoughts, and make you question yourself. We all know them, those people who can turn a good day into a mess of self-doubt and frustration. They're everywhere, sometimes even close to us: friends, colleagues, relatives, people who seem to bring nothing but conflict, confusion, and negativity into our lives. But here's the truth: learning to protect your inner peace is not just a luxury, it's essential. Imagine walking through your day with unshakable calm, not easily pulled into petty drama or manipulated by subtle guilt trips. It's not about cutting everyone off or building emotional walls. It's about learning to guard your energy, recognize destructive patterns, and focus on what truly matters. You don't need to live as a prisoner to other people's chaos. Stoicism offers us a timeless toolkit for dealing with these types of challenges, from handling the minor annoyances to navigating the deeper toxicity that can lurk in relationships. With just a few powerful habits, you can reclaim control over your emotions, keep your mind clear, and transform the way you respond to toxic situations. Let's face it, life can throw enough at us as it is, from stress at work to personal struggles, so why let others make it even harder? Think about how many hours are lost replaying a snide comment in your head, or feeling worn out after dealing with someone who always seems to need saving, but never learns or grows. This drain on our energy might not seem like much in the moment, but it builds up, taking away from our potential, our happiness, and even our physical health. The wisdom we can gain from Stoicism is profound. Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, taught that we can't control what others do, but we can control our reactions. Toxic people thrive on provoking reactions, drawing out anger, guilt, or even a sense of responsibility. Stoicism teaches us to detach, to see that we don't need to react to every insult or demand, and to make a conscious choice about how we spend our emotional energy. Now, that's not to say protecting yourself means being passive. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful actions you can take. Too often, we feel that boundaries are selfish or unkind, especially with people close to us. But in reality, boundaries are an act of respect, both for yourself and for others. They help keep relationships balanced, keeping you from being overwhelmed and allowing you to decide how much of yourself you're willing to give. Boundaries are like a protective fence around your peace, keeping harmful behavior at bay. For anyone who's struggled with saying no, who's felt guilted into helping even when exhausted, or who's held back from speaking up because it felt easier, know this: Stoicism teaches us that we're not responsible for others' emotional reactions. Saying no without guilt isn't a flaw, it's an empowering choice. You're giving yourself permission to prioritize your well-being over endless demands, reclaiming time and energy to focus on what genuinely fulfills you. It's also about mastering the art of non-reactivity. Some people have an uncanny ability to push buttons, to say the exact thing that makes us see red, and before we know it, we're caught in a whirlwind of anger or frustration. Here's where the Stoic wisdom of non-reactivity becomes invaluable. When you refuse to give an emotional response, you take away their power. You don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you upset or rattled. The best part? This doesn't just protect you from them. It also builds your emotional strength, allowing you to stay calm and unbothered, no matter what others try to throw at you. In a world filled with quick judgments, we're often nudged to take everything personally, to see each remark or behavior as a reflection on us. But Stoicism flips this perspective. It shows us that what people say and do reflects their own struggles, insecurities, and limitations. You might know someone who constantly criticizes, who picks at every detail, or who downplays your achievements. In the past, you may have let their words sting affecting your self-esteem. But by stepping back and recognizing that their behavior has more to do with them than with you, you'll start to see things differently. Suddenly, their criticism loses its power. You're no longer the target. They're the ones fighting their own battles, and you just happen to be in the way. Detaching emotionally from toxic behavior allows you to reclaim your own peace. It frees you from the trap of self-blame, from the harmful belief that you must be doing something wrong if others are unhappy with you. Sometimes, a person's disapproval has nothing to do with you. It's simply their own dissatisfaction, their unmet needs or frustrations manifesting outwardly. And that's where cognitive reframing comes in. Instead of letting toxic behavior define your mood or self-worth, you start to view it through a lens of calm objectivity. You see their behavior as data, information about them, not a reflection of you. It's also about minimizing exposure. Some people are fixtures in our lives, people we can't simply avoid, whether it's due to family ties or workplace proximity. But that doesn't mean we need to give them unlimited access to our minds and emotions. Setting limits on how much time and energy we allow them to occupy is crucial. When you stop engaging deeply with those who habitually bring negativity, you create space for positivity and growth. By strategically reducing the time spent around such people, you protect your mental clarity, your energy, and your sense of self. It's not an act of avoidance, it's an act of self-care. And speaking of self-care, one of the most underrated ways to shield yourself from toxic people is to build resilience through self-care routines. Self-care isn't selfish. It's what enables you to approach life and difficult people with strength and composure. When you're physically and emotionally well, the antics of others don't shake you as easily. A balanced life, one filled with activities that nourish your mind and body, becomes a fortress, a source of inner strength that others cannot easily penetrate. Stoicism also teaches us the art of the grey rock method, becoming uninteresting, blending in, making it clear that there's no reaction here for the taking. Toxic people often thrive on drama. They enjoy the excitement of pushing others to react. But by remaining neutral, by showing as little interest or emotion as possible, you take away their fuel. Soon enough, they'll move on, realizing that there's nothing here for them to work with. Learning to protect your peace, energy, and focus isn't about distancing yourself from everyone. It's about being selective and wise. It's about recognizing that not every relationship is worth the cost, that some people, however close, will drain you if given the chance. Protecting yourself is not only a form of self-respect, it's a choice to build a life filled with people and experiences that add value, joy, and meaning. At the end of the day, your happiness, your peace, and your mental clarity matter. Stoicism shows us that while we may not control others' actions, we have a profound ability to shape our own responses. We can choose what we allow in and, perhaps more importantly, what we keep out. When you understand that this is possible, you start to see toxic behavior differently, not as something that drags you down, but as something that you can sidestep, deflect, or calmly reject. The journey to protecting yourself from toxic people is about building resilience, setting limits, and remembering that you are your own best advocate. It's about respecting your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being enough to let go of what harms you. By learning to stay grounded in the face of negativity, to build your life around what brings you strength and joy, you'll find that you're no longer vulnerable to the toxicity of others. Instead, you're empowered, steady, and able to live on your own terms. And that is a victory that no toxic person can ever take away. As we dive into the heart of what it means to protect your peace, the first essential step is recognizing when someone's behavior crosses the line from normal interaction to something more controlling, manipulative, or subtly harmful. Often, the influence of toxic individuals is not blatantly obvious, which is exactly why it's so insidious. Manipulative behavior doesn't always show up as a clear, direct offense. Sometimes it's the small, repeated actions, the ones that seem too trivial to address at first, that end up taking a toll on your self-esteem, independence, and emotional well-being. These behaviors may appear harmless or even disguised as concern, but they're not. They chip away at your confidence, cloud your judgment, and leave you feeling confused, off balance, or questioning your own reality. The Stoics understood the power of self-awareness and emotional independence as the foundation of inner peace. They taught that by understanding our minds, we can protect ourselves from subtle manipulations that distort our sense of reality. In the same way, recognizing manipulative behavior requires a keen awareness of the tactics toxic individuals use to gain control or influence over others. There's no need for immediate suspicion of everyone around you, but there is wisdom in knowing the signs, the indicators that suggest you may be dealing with someone who has less than honest intentions. Let's explore these signs in detail so you can approach each interaction with clarity, strength, and the understanding that your emotional well-being is in your hands. One common tactic of manipulation is something called gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone repeatedly causes you to question your own reality or perceptions, subtly convincing you that your thoughts, feelings, or even your memories are unreliable. Gaslighting often starts small, with the manipulator contradicting your experience in ways that don't seem significant at first. They might tell you that a conversation or event didn't happen the way you remember, or that your reaction to something is over the top. Over time, these minor dismissals accumulate, leading you to doubt your own perspective. If left unchecked, gaslighting can leave you feeling constantly confused, unsure of yourself, and dependent on the manipulator's version of events. This technique is particularly dangerous because it attacks your perception of reality. To combat gaslighting, it's crucial to stay grounded in your own experiences and trust your intuition. Practicing journaling or discussing your experiences with trusted friends can be helpful, as they allow you to maintain clarity and confidence in your own perceptions. When you begin to sense that someone is frequently dismissing or minimizing your experiences, take a step back and assess the relationship objectively. Trusting your inner voice is one of the strongest defenses against this form of manipulation. Another tactic to watch out for is triangulation. This is when a manipulative person brings a third party into the dynamic to control or destabilize the relationship. For instance, they might constantly reference the opinions or actions of another person to make you feel inferior or to pit people against each other. Triangulation creates a sense of competition, insecurity, and mistrust, all of which work to weaken your self-esteem and make you feel more dependent on the manipulator for reassurance or approval. The best way to counteract triangulation is to stay focused on direct communication. Avoid being drawn into comparisons with others or feeling pressured to prove your worth or abilities. By refusing to engage in competition for the manipulator's approval, you protect your self-worth and maintain a balanced perspective on your own value. Manipulative people also often use guilt as a tool for control. They may play the victim or exaggerate their difficulties to make you feel responsible for their happiness, needs, or well-being. This tactic can be especially effective on compassionate people who naturally want to help. Over time, however, the constant feeling of being responsible for someone else's happiness can become exhausting and overwhelming. When you notice someone using guilt to keep you involved or invested in their issues, recognize that their emotions are their responsibility, not yours. Setting clear emotional boundaries and understanding that you are not obligated to carry another person's burdens is essential. When you start feeling guilty, Ask yourself if the situation truly calls for that emotion. Often, manipulators will exaggerate their distress or downplay your own needs, pushing you to sacrifice your well-being for their comfort. By staying aware of these tendencies, you can protect your peace and prevent guilt from dictating your decisions. Another subtle yet powerful manipulative tactic is creating a scarcity mindset. Toxic people might make you feel as though their approval, love, or attention is a limited resource you have to earn or maintain carefully. This often happens when they alternate between moments of warmth and kindness and coldness or indifference, keeping you constantly on edge and striving to win back their affection. This tactic keeps you in a state of insecurity, leading you to seek their validation rather than focusing on your own self-worth. To break free from this cycle, recognize that genuine relationships do not require you to constantly earn someone's approval or affection. True friends and supportive family members provide stability, not a sense of scarcity. By understanding this, you can detach from people who keep you anxious and uncertain, and instead build relationships based on mutual respect and trust. Projection is another tactic that manipulators often employ. This is when someone attributes their own negative traits or behaviors to you, accusing you of the very actions or flaws they possess. For instance, a person who is frequently dishonest might accuse you of lying or keeping secrets, or someone who is emotionally volatile might criticize you for being too sensitive. Projection serves to deflect responsibility and shift the focus away from the manipulator's behavior. It creates confusion, making you question whether you're the problem. When faced with projection, it's important to remain confident in your own character and actions. Resist the urge to internalize these accusations. Instead, consider whether the behavior they're accusing you of is actually theirs. Remind yourself that their words reflect their issues, not yours. By staying grounded in your sense of self, you can avoid falling into the trap of self-doubt that projection often creates. Another method manipulators use is selective kindness or generosity, a tactic that can be as confusing as it is deceptive. Toxic people may alternate between being incredibly generous, supportive, or affectionate, and withdrawing their warmth at seemingly random times. This hot and cold behavior can keep you guessing, creating a false sense of security that makes you more willing to overlook their negative behavior. The kindness acts as a bait, drawing you in just enough to keep you entangled in the relationship. However, it's important to see through this inconsistency and recognize it as a way to control your emotions. To counter this tactic, remember that genuine kindness is consistent and doesn't come with strings attached. People who care about you will not make you feel that their warmth is something you have to earn through compliance or concession. By recognizing and acknowledging these patterns, you can decide not to rely on such conditional kindness for your sense of security or self-worth. Silent treatment or stonewalling is another form of manipulation used to exert control by refusing communication. This tactic involves cutting off dialogue, ignoring messages, or avoiding conversations as a way to punish or manipulate. Silent treatment is emotionally painful because it leaves you feeling helpless, unable to resolve the situation or explain your side. It's also a tactic that creates dependency, as you're left waiting for the manipulator to decide when the punishment is over. Understanding that silent treatment is a form of manipulation helps lessen its impact. Recognize that this behavior is a tactic meant to control, not a reflection of your worth or a true resolution to any problem. Instead of trying to win back the manipulator's attention, shift your focus to maintaining your self-respect and emotional independence. Another sign of manipulative behavior is feigned ignorance or playing dumb. Toxic people sometimes pretend not to understand or remember things that matter to you, acting as though your needs or expectations are unreasonable or confusing. This tactic can make you feel guilty for having boundaries or expectations, causing you to doubt the validity of your own desires. They might forget plans or commitments, or act oblivious when you call out their hurtful behavior, making it seem as though you're the one who's too demanding or critical. The way to counter this tactic is by standing firm in your expectations and boundaries. Don't feel compelled to lower your standards or apologize for your needs. Remember, people who value you will take your needs seriously and respect your boundaries without making you feel unreasonable. By holding steady to your expectations, you signal that you won't be manipulated into feeling lesser or doubting yourself. Manipulative people often employ what's known as future faking. This is when they make grand promises about future plans, commitments, or changes they never intend to follow through on. They might talk about how things will get better or make promises that lead you to believe things will improve, only for those promises to be forgotten once they've gotten what they want. Future faking creates a false hope that keeps you invested, hoping that someday things will change. By recognizing this tactic, you can avoid getting caught in endless cycles of broken promises. Pay attention to whether someone's words match their actions over time. True change and commitment are consistent, not based on empty promises. Trust actions over words, and understand that if someone repeatedly disappoints you, it's likely that their promises are manipulative rather than sincere. Emotional blackmail is a common technique used by manipulators to control others by instilling fear, obligation, or guilt. They may threaten to harm themselves, withdraw love, or end the relationship if you don't comply with their wishes. This form of manipulation is particularly damaging because it plays on your compassion, forcing you to choose between your well-being and their demands. Remember that true, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not fear or coercion. You are not responsible for managing another person's emotions or preventing them from facing the consequences of their actions. Recognize that emotional blackmail is a tactic to keep you controlled, not a true reflection of love or care. Each of these signs points to ways that toxic people subtly erode your self-worth, confidence, and independence. By recognizing these behaviors and understanding the tactics manipulators use, you can protect yourself, stay grounded in your values, and build relationships based on respect and genuine care. This awareness becomes your armor, allowing you to see through the illusions toxic people create and to protect the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate. As we deepen our understanding of the ways toxic behaviors subtly affect us, it's essential to look closely at those actions that may not seem harmful on the surface, but gradually drain our energy and wear down our self-worth. Sometimes, it's not the obvious clashes or conflicts that impact us the most. It's the more subtle behaviors, the kind that slowly erode confidence, leaving us feeling depleted and questioning our own value. Recognizing these behaviors is crucial for anyone who wants to protect their inner peace and ensure that their self-esteem remains intact despite the presence of negative influences. One of the most common yet easily overlooked behaviors is backhanded compliments. This is when someone appears to compliment you but manages to slip in a subtle dig or a slight criticism within the praise. It may sound like, "You look nice today, I wish you'd put in the effort more often," or "You did a great job, for once." These statements are meant to undermine your confidence under the guise of a compliment, creating confusion and making you second-guess your worth. When someone consistently delivers backhanded compliments, it can leave you feeling unappreciated, causing doubt and insecurity. Over time, you might even find yourself adjusting your behavior to earn their genuine approval, a mental trap that drains energy and subtly shifts your self-perception. Recognize that real compliments lift you up without any hidden digs, and remind yourself that your worth does not hinge on anyone's approval. Another subtle behavior that saps energy and undermines self-worth is constant interrupting. While it may seem minor, interrupting is more than just a bad habit. It's often a way for people to assert dominance and control in conversations. When someone repeatedly interrupts, they're essentially saying, "What I have to say is more important than what you're saying." This not only diminishes the value of your words, but also affects your confidence in expressing yourself. Over time, frequent interruptions can make you feel unheard, leading you to question the relevance or importance of your thoughts. Interrupting might not always be malicious, but it's vital to notice how often it happens and how it impacts you. If you find yourself in this dynamic, remind yourself that your voice deserves to be heard and practice reasserting your space in conversations with calm confidence. Another energy-draining behavior is passive aggressiveness. Instead of expressing feelings openly, a passive-aggressive person will indirectly convey their displeasure, often leaving you feeling uncertain or at fault without knowing exactly why. For instance, if someone is upset, rather than addressing it, they might act distant, give you the silent treatment, or make ambiguous remarks that are hard to interpret. This can leave you feeling tense, constantly analyzing interactions and wondering what went wrong. Passive aggressiveness keeps you emotionally on edge, gradually chipping away at your peace and self-assurance. To counter this, acknowledge that passive-aggressive behavior is a reflection of the other person's inability to communicate directly. Don't get pulled into their unspoken conflicts. Instead, address issues openly, or, if they're unwilling to do so, step back to protect your peace. Micro-criticisms are another sneaky behavior that can subtly undermine your self-worth. These are tiny, persistent criticisms that focus on trivial aspects of your behavior or appearance. It could be as minor as commenting on how you pronounce a word, nitpicking your choice of clothing, or pointing out your mannerisms. Micro-criticisms often go unnoticed at first, but over time they accumulate, creating a sense of inadequacy. The repeated act of being scrutinized for small details can lead you to feel overly self-conscious, making you question your actions even when there's no real fault. In the long run, this constant critique can erode your confidence. Counter micro-criticisms by recognizing them as attempts to exert control and remind yourself that these comments are not reflective of your worth. Build resilience by staying focused on your values and resisting the urge to adjust yourself for minor criticisms that serve no constructive purpose. Another behavior that may subtly drain your energy is the humble brag. This is when someone subtly brags about themselves under the pretense of modesty or humility, like saying, "I'm so exhausted from working non-stop. Everyone just relies on me." The humble brag might seem harmless, but it often serves to establish superiority, subtly positioning the person as indispensable or more capable. Repeated exposure to this behavior can make you feel lesser or inadequate by comparison, leaving you with an underlying sense of inferiority. Over time, the humble brag can lead you to doubt your own accomplishments, as you're constantly confronted with someone else's subtle boasts. Recognize that humble bragging often reflects a need for validation rather than a true measure of worth. Don't let it diminish your own self-assurance. Focus on your unique strengths without needing to compare them to anyone else's experiences. Subtle exclusion is another tactic that can harm your self-esteem. This behavior shows up when someone deliberately leaves you out of conversations, plans, or activities in a way that feels almost unnoticeable at first. It might involve making inside jokes you're not privy to, or arranging plans in your presence but excluding you from the invite. Subtle exclusion works on a psychological level, making you question whether you're valued or appreciated within a group. This gradual isolation creates an atmosphere where you feel like an outsider, even if you're physically present. Over time, it can erode your confidence and make you feel invisible. If you find yourself in this situation, remember that your value doesn't depend on being included in every plan or conversation. Seek out connections that genuinely appreciate your presence rather than tolerating environments where you feel marginalized. Another common but overlooked behavior that drains energy is minimizing your achievements. This occurs when someone downplays or dismisses your successes, making them seem unimportant. For instance, you might share a personal achievement only to hear, "That's nice, but it's really not a big deal." By consistently belittling your accomplishments, toxic people aim to keep you from feeling proud of yourself, subtly chipping away at your self-worth. This behavior discourages you from celebrating your wins, making you feel as though nothing you achieve is ever enough. Combat this by acknowledging and celebrating your own achievements privately if necessary. Remind yourself that external validation isn't required for your accomplishments to matter, and give yourself permission to feel proud, regardless of how others react. Feigning forgetfulness is another way that people can subtly undermine your energy and self-worth. This is when someone conveniently forgets things that are important to you, such as your boundaries, special dates, or details you've shared about your life. Repeated forgetfulness may appear harmless, but it serves to make you feel unimportant and undervalued. Over time, this can lead you to question whether your needs or feelings matter. By constantly forgetting, the person sends a message that what's important to you isn't worth remembering. To counter this, hold your ground and gently remind the person of the details they conveniently forget. This reinforces your boundaries and communicates that your values are significant, regardless of their memory lapses. Another behavior that can subtly drain energy is playing the martyr. In this scenario, someone constantly acts as if they're sacrificing or suffering on your behalf, even when it's unnecessary or exaggerated. They might say things like, "I did this for you, even though it was really hard for me," framing themselves as the hero or victim in every situation. This tactic places emotional pressure on you to acknowledge their efforts and can leave you feeling indebted or guilty. Over time, dealing with someone who frequently plays the martyr can create a sense of obligation that weighs you down, diverting your energy toward meeting their needs over your own. Recognize that genuine support doesn't come with strings attached, and don't allow guilt to dictate your response to their behavior. Healthy relationships are balanced and don't require you to feel perpetually in debt for another person's supposed sacrifices. One more behavior that can sap your energy and undermine your self-worth is chronic complaining. People who are always negative or complaining about their lives, circumstances, or the world create a cloud of pessimism around them. While it's natural to vent occasionally, chronic complainers seem to focus exclusively on the negative, never seeking solutions or trying to improve their situations. This constant negativity can be emotionally exhausting, as you may feel pressure to provide comfort, advice, or support. Over time, their perpetual complaints can leave you feeling drained, and their pessimism may even start to influence your own outlook. Protect your energy by setting boundaries around their negativity. You can empathize without absorbing their despair and remind yourself that their problems are theirs to handle. The act of one-upping is another subtle behavior that can wear down your self-worth. This occurs when someone always tries to outshine or overshadow your experiences by sharing their own, often in a way that dismisses or minimizes yours. If you mention an achievement or a struggle, a one-upper will jump in with a bigger story, shifting the focus back onto themselves. This behavior can make you feel insignificant, as though nothing you experience or accomplish is meaningful. Over time, you may begin to downplay your own successes or struggles to avoid being overshadowed. Counter this by refusing to engage in competition and reminding yourself that your experiences are valuable, regardless of how others respond. A behavior known as love bombing can drain your energy and undermine self-worth. Love bombing is when someone showers you with excessive attention, compliments or affection at the start of a relationship or friendship, only to withdraw it later. This initial phase creates a sense of euphoria, making you feel deeply valued. However, once you're emotionally invested, the affection is suddenly withheld, leaving you feeling confused and desperate to regain their approval. Love bombing is often a tactic used to establish control, leaving you vulnerable to the manipulator's influence. Recognize that authentic relationships grow gradually and are not marked by overwhelming gestures followed by coldness. Keep your expectations realistic and be wary of people who seem too intense too quickly, as it can be a sign of manipulation rather than genuine care. Understanding these subtle behaviors is crucial for protecting your energy and self-worth. Each of these tactics, whether intentional or not, can gradually erode your confidence and well-being. By staying aware of these signs, you can make conscious choices about who you allow into your life and how much influence they have over your emotional health. This awareness empowers you to stand firm in your value, regardless of the behaviors you encounter, and to build relationships that enhance rather than diminish your sense of self. As we move forward, recognizing the behaviors that undermine your energy is only part of the journey. The real transformation happens when you learn to master non-reactivity, building a mindset that is emotionally bulletproof against negativity and manipulation. When you are non-reactive, you're in control of your emotions, no longer swayed by the storms of others' actions or words. This is the art of standing firm and calm, no matter what is happening around you. It's not about becoming indifferent or distant. It's about being able to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Imagine feeling genuinely calm in situations that would have once sparked frustration or doubt. Cultivating this inner strength allows you to lead your life on your own terms, freeing you from the emotional influence of those who seek to disrupt your peace. The foundation of non-reactivity begins with awareness. Knowing yourself, understanding your triggers, and recognizing what tends to set you off is a crucial first step. When you are aware of your triggers, you can prepare for situations that might test your patience or resolve. For instance, if you know that certain comments or topics tend to make you feel defensive or annoyed, this awareness can help you brace yourself when these situations arise. Rather than feeling blindsided, you are mentally prepared, making it easier to stay grounded. This self-awareness requires practice and honesty. The more you understand yourself, the more you can detach from emotional impulses that don't serve you. When you encounter a difficult interaction, remind yourself that the power lies in your response, not in the trigger itself. Awareness allows you to see the situation clearly without the cloud of emotional reaction. Another essential aspect of non-reactivity is learning to pause before responding. In moments of tension, taking a brief pause can make all the difference. Often, our first instinct is to defend ourselves, to explain, or to retaliate. But this reaction is rarely the most constructive one. When you pause, even for just a few seconds, you give yourself space to choose your response rather than letting the situation dictate it. This pause creates a buffer between the external event and your internal state. By developing the habit of pausing, you can remain centered and respond with clarity rather than impulse. Remember, silence in these moments isn't weakness, it's wisdom. A pause is a signal that you're in control, that your emotions don't govern you, and that you're choosing how to handle the situation. Practicing detachment is another crucial element in mastering non-reactivity. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring or become cold. It means you learn to separate your emotions from the situation at hand. Detachment allows you to view interactions objectively without personalizing the behavior of others. For example, if someone speaks harshly or unfairly, instead of internalizing their words, you can view them as a reflection of that person's mood or issues rather than a reflection of your own worth. By practicing detachment, you create a protective layer between yourself and the emotional turbulence of others. This mindset not only preserves your inner peace, but also helps you maintain a balanced perspective in challenging situations. The next time you encounter hostility or criticism, remind yourself that their behavior is theirs to own, not yours to absorb. Your peace doesn't depend on anyone else's conduct. The power of mindfulness is also essential to cultivating non-reactivity. Mindfulness is the practice of staying present, focusing on the here and now without judgment. When you are mindful, you're fully engaged in the present moment, which means you're less likely to get lost in negative emotions or assumptions. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your thoughts and feelings without being consumed by them. For example, if you feel anger or frustration rising, mindfulness helps you notice these emotions as they are, without letting them dictate your behavior. Practicing mindfulness strengthens your ability to observe rather than react. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions. Rather, it's about allowing them to come and go without letting them control you. Through mindfulness, you can respond to challenging situations with composure, grounded in the present moment. Another technique that enhances non-reactivity is reframing your perspective. Often, we react emotionally because we interpret situations in a way that feels personal or threatening. Reframing involves looking at a situation from a different angle, finding a perspective that lessens its emotional impact. For instance, if someone criticizes your work, instead of interpreting it as a personal attack, you can view it as an opportunity for growth or constructive feedback. By reframing situations, you change the narrative in your mind, making it easier to respond without emotional turbulence. Reframing shifts your focus from defensiveness to curiosity, turning challenges into learning experiences. This mindset allows you to handle criticism, setbacks, or conflicts with grace, reducing the emotional weight they hold. Setting clear mental boundaries is also essential for non-reactivity. Just as physical boundaries protect your space, mental boundaries protect your peace. Mental boundaries mean knowing where you end and others begin, recognizing that you are not responsible for their moods, behaviors, or reactions. For example, if someone is angry or disappointed, having a mental boundary reminds you that their emotions are not yours to fix or carry. By establishing these mental boundaries, you reduce the likelihood of getting swept up in others' emotional states. This doesn't mean ignoring others' feelings. It means respecting your emotional space. Mental boundaries allow you to offer empathy without absorbing negativity, to engage without being overwhelmed. When you maintain these boundaries, you protect your well-being while still showing compassion to those around you. Practicing self-compassion is another powerful tool in mastering non-reactivity. Often, our emotional responses are heightened because we are hard on ourselves, expecting perfection or fearing judgment. Self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness and understanding, even when you make mistakes or face criticism. When you cultivate self-compassion, you become less reactive to external opinions or criticism because your sense of worth is secure within. For example, if you face rejection or criticism, self-compassion reminds you that you are worthy and valuable regardless. This mindset gives you resilience, allowing you to handle challenges with a calm heart. By practicing self-compassion, you're building an internal foundation that isn't easily shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Another key element of non-reactivity is choosing your battles wisely. Not every situation requires a reaction or response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let go, to allow situations to unfold without interference. Choosing your battles means recognizing which situations truly matter and which ones don't deserve your energy. For instance, not every negative comment or slight deserves a response. By reserving your energy for meaningful situations, you conserve your mental and emotional resources. This doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means being strategic about when and how you engage. Choosing your battles reinforces your sense of control, helping you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Acceptance is also fundamental in non-reactivity. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or giving up. It means acknowledging reality as it is, rather than resisting it. Often, our emotional reactions are fueled by resistance, by wanting things to be different than they are. When you accept a situation, even if it's unpleasant, you release the emotional tension that comes from resistance. Acceptance allows you to approach challenges with clarity and adaptability. For example, if a situation doesn't go as planned, accepting it rather than resisting or blaming allows you to focus on finding solutions. Acceptance gives you the freedom to respond to life's ups and downs with resilience, knowing that your peace isn't dependent on circumstances, aligning with your expectations. Another powerful technique in non-reactivity is practicing gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking or negative to what is positive and fulfilling in your life. When you cultivate gratitude, you become less affected by negativity or challenges, as your mind is anchored in a sense of abundance. For instance, if someone criticizes you, gratitude reminds you of your strengths, of the people who support you, and of the progress you've made. This mindset protects you from the impact of negativity, allowing you to respond with calmness and confidence. Gratitude acts as a buffer against emotional reactions, giving you a grounded perspective that isn't easily shaken by external influences. Learning to let go of control is also a critical aspect of non-reactivity. Much of our emotional response is driven by the need to control outcomes, people, or situations. When you release this need, you free yourself from the frustration and anxiety that comes with it. Letting go of control doesn't mean becoming passive. It means accepting that some things are beyond your influence. For instance, you can't control how others feel or behave, but you can control your response. By letting go of control, you become more adaptable and resilient, responding to situations with ease rather than resistance. This mindset brings a sense of peace, knowing that your well-being isn't dependent on controlling every aspect of life. Non-reactivity also involves practicing patience. Often our reactions stem from impatience, from wanting situations to resolve instantly or for others to change immediately. Patience allows you to wait for clarity, to give situations time to unfold naturally. For example, if someone is upset, patience gives you the space to understand their perspective rather than jumping to conclusions. By practicing patience, you're able to respond with wisdom rather than impulsiveness. Patience also strengthens your emotional endurance, enabling you to handle challenges without feeling rushed or pressured. This approach reinforces your inner calm, allowing you to navigate life's complexities with grace. Embracing flexibility is vital in mastering non-reactivity. Life is full of unexpected changes, and the ability to adapt without resistance is a hallmark of emotional resilience. Flexibility allows you to flow with situations rather than fight against them, making you less reactive and more open to alternative perspectives. For instance, if plans change unexpectedly, flexibility allows you to adjust without frustration, keeping your peace intact. This mindset is grounded in the understanding that change is a natural part of life, and resisting it only creates tension. By embracing flexibility, you equip yourself to respond to life's shifts with ease, ensuring that your peace remains steady even in the face of uncertainty. Each of these practices contributes to a mindset that is strong, calm, and resilient, allowing you to handle life's challenges with clarity and control. Non-reactivity isn't about avoiding emotions, it's about managing them wisely. By cultivating this mindset, you become the master of your emotions, leading a life that is not dictated by external forces, but guided by inner strength and wisdom. This journey to non-reactivity empowers you to face life with courage and calmness, creating a foundation of peace that can withstand any storm. As we move forward in building emotional resilience, it's time to explore Stoic techniques that empower you to keep your emotions steady, even when faced with toxic people. Toxic individuals often know precisely how to trigger reactions, whether it's through harsh words, subtle digs, or passive-aggressive behavior. But with Stoic principles, you can cultivate an inner calm that isn't easily shaken, allowing you to interact with challenging personalities without losing your balance or peace of mind. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions, but mastering them, choosing responses that reflect your strength rather than reactions that come from impulse. Imagine feeling truly grounded in any interaction, unbothered by negativity or attempts to provoke you. Let's dive into these timeless techniques, designed to help you navigate life's toughest situations with grace and strength. The first Stoic technique to master is understanding the power of perception. In any situation, our emotions are directly influenced by how we interpret what's happening. Toxic people often rely on negative perceptions to stir up your emotions, framing things in a way that makes you doubt yourself or feel defensive. When you learn to control your perception, you gain power over how you feel. For example, if someone criticizes you, it's easy to interpret it as an attack on your character. However, if you perceive it as a reflection of their own insecurities or struggles, the criticism loses its sting. Instead of reacting emotionally, you see it objectively, recognizing that it's their perspective, not a statement of your worth. By mastering perception, you can view interactions as information rather than personal judgments, keeping your emotions grounded. Another powerful Stoic principle is the dichotomy of control, which teaches us to separate what we can control from what we cannot. In dealing with toxic individuals, this technique is essential. Toxic people often try to control our emotions by influencing how we feel about ourselves or the situation. However, once you realize that you only control your own thoughts, actions, and attitudes, not theirs, you free yourself from their influence. If someone is attempting to manipulate you, the dichotomy of control reminds you that their actions are outside your control, but your response is within your power. By focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest, you shield yourself from the emotional chaos that toxic people try to create. This understanding brings a sense of liberation, allowing you to focus on your own values rather than getting pulled into their drama. Another essential technique is practicing negative visualization. This Stoic exercise involves preparing yourself mentally for possible negative outcomes so that when they occur, you're not overwhelmed. For instance, if you know you'll be interacting with a toxic person, visualize the worst-case scenarios they might provoke. Maybe they'll criticize you, dismiss your ideas, or attempt to push your boundaries. By anticipating these actions, you reduce the shock and emotional impact they might have on you. Negative visualization doesn't mean expecting bad things to happen, but rather preparing yourself for them so they don't hijack your emotions. When you're mentally ready, Toxic behavior loses its power, and you can remain calm and collected, knowing that you anticipated their actions and are equipped to respond from a place of strength. The practice of emotional detachment is another powerful Stoic approach to handling toxicity. Emotional detachment doesn't mean being unfeeling. It means recognizing that others' emotions and opinions don't define you. Toxic people often try to provoke reactions to feel in control, but when you detach, you break their hold over your emotions. If someone is angry or upset with you, for instance, emotional detachment allows you to empathize without internalizing their emotions. You can recognize their anger without feeling responsible for it. Detachment empowers you to maintain your emotional well-being regardless of others' reactions, making it clear that your sense of peace isn't dictated by external turmoil. This practice strengthens your inner resolve, giving you the freedom to engage with others without losing yourself in their emotional states. Another key Stoic technique is the art of reframing. Toxic people may try to present situations in a way that makes you feel trapped, guilty, or inadequate. By learning to reframe, you can change your perspective, seeing these interactions as opportunities to practice patience, self-respect, and compassion. For example, if someone is trying to make you feel guilty, instead of seeing it as a personal failing, you can reframe it as their attempt to manipulate you. This shift in perspective allows you to approach the interaction with clarity and emotional strength, recognizing that their behavior reflects their own struggles, not yours. Reframing helps you focus on the bigger picture, reminding you that toxic behavior is often a reflection of the other person's issues rather than something you need to fix or take personally. Another essential Stoic tool is the practice of voluntary discomfort. In Stoicism, voluntary discomfort means deliberately exposing yourself to minor discomforts to build resilience. While this might seem unrelated to dealing with toxic people, it has significant benefits. When you train yourself to handle discomfort, you're better equipped to face difficult interactions without getting overwhelmed. Practicing voluntary discomfort could be as simple as going a day without certain comforts, or challenging yourself to spend time with difficult people without reacting. The point is to build your tolerance for discomfort so that when toxic behavior arises, you're emotionally prepared to handle it. Voluntary discomfort cultivates a mental toughness that makes it harder for others to disrupt your peace. When you're resilient, you're less likely to react impulsively, maintaining control over your emotions even in challenging situations. The concept of amor fati, or the love of fate, is another Stoic technique that can protect your emotions from being hijacked. Amor fati teaches us to embrace everything that happens, even the negative experiences, as necessary parts of life. When you encounter toxic people, rather than seeing them as obstacles, amor fati encourages you to view them as opportunities to practice patience, kindness, and self-control. This mindset turns challenges into growth experiences, allowing you to see value in every interaction, even the difficult ones. By accepting situations as they are rather than resisting them, you free yourself from frustration, making it easier to keep your emotions steady. Amor fati brings a sense of peace and acceptance, enabling you to face toxic behavior without resentment or bitterness. Another Stoic approach is the use of affirmations to reinforce your values and beliefs. Toxic people often try to make you doubt yourself, causing you to question your worth or intentions. Using affirmations helps counteract these negative influences, reminding you of your strengths and grounding you in your principles. For instance, you might tell yourself, "I am worthy of respect," or "I control my reactions." By affirming your values, you create a mental shield against the impact of others' words. These reminders keep you focused on who you are, regardless of how others try to make you feel. Consistent use of affirmations strengthens your self-worth, making it harder for toxic people to shake your confidence or disrupt your emotional balance. Another technique for maintaining emotional stability is the Stoic practice of indifference to externals. Stoics believe that true happiness comes from within and isn't dependent on external factors. When dealing with toxic individuals, this practice reminds you that your peace of mind is not at the mercy of their actions or opinions. If someone criticizes or tries to belittle you, indifference to externals helps you see that their words have no real bearing on your worth. This perspective frees you from the need for external validation, giving you control over your happiness. By detaching from the need for approval, you become resilient to negativity, allowing you to engage with others from a place of inner strength rather than emotional vulnerability. Another powerful Stoic exercise is journaling, which helps you process emotions and gain clarity on challenging situations. Toxic people often create confusion, making it difficult to understand your own feelings. Journaling allows you to reflect on interactions, identify any triggers, and clarify your response. Writing about your experiences gives you perspective, helping you separate your emotions from the situation. For example, if someone's behavior left you feeling hurt or defensive, journaling can help you understand why and offer insights into how to respond differently in the future. This practice enhances self-awareness and emotional control, allowing you to navigate toxic behavior with a clear mind. By regularly journaling, you develop a stronger sense of self, making it easier to resist emotional manipulation. Practicing compassion is another Stoic principle that can protect your emotions from the influence of toxic people. Compassion allows you to see others' behavior as a result of their own pain or struggles, rather than something aimed at hurting you. When someone acts in a toxic manner, compassion helps you understand that their actions often stem from insecurities, fear, or unresolved issues. This understanding doesn't excuse their behavior, but it allows you to respond with empathy rather than anger or resentment. Compassionate responses disarm toxic people as they don't get the reaction they seek. By cultivating compassion, you're able to maintain your peace and approach interactions with kindness, creating a buffer between yourself and negativity. Lastly, the Stoic practice of daily reflection reinforces emotional resilience. At the end of each day, take time to reflect on any interactions that challenged your emotions. Consider what went well, what could be improved, and how you can respond differently next time. This reflection helps you learn from each experience, building emotional strength over time. When you reflect, you're not dwelling on negative experiences, but learning from them, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. Daily reflection strengthens your commitment to emotional mastery, making it easier to remain calm and composed no matter what the day brings. Through consistent reflection, you become better equipped to prevent toxic people from hijacking your emotions, creating a life guided by inner peace and resilience. Each of these Stoic techniques is a tool for managing your emotions, ensuring that you remain in control no matter the external circumstances. With practice, you'll find that your peace becomes unshakable, a source of strength that toxic people cannot penetrate. Stoicism empowers you to live with intention, emotional clarity, and the knowledge that your inner calm is yours to protect. As we move forward in protecting our inner peace, setting firm boundaries becomes essential. Boundaries aren't just rules. They're the invisible shields that protect your emotional space, giving you control over who has access to your energy and emotions. Without clear boundaries, others can easily encroach on your peace, pulling you into their drama or draining you with constant demands. But when you define and uphold these boundaries, you create a sanctuary for your well-being, a safe space that preserves your mental clarity and emotional resilience. Setting boundaries is not about distancing yourself from people. It's about respecting your limits and ensuring that you prioritize your own health and happiness. Let's dive into the power of boundaries and the life-changing effect they can have. The first essential aspect of setting boundaries is understanding what you truly value. Boundaries are deeply connected to your values because they protect what matters most to you. Take time to reflect on your core values, whether it's respect, honesty, peace, or independence. When you know what's important to you, you can create boundaries that align with these values, allowing you to live authentically and without compromise. For instance, if you value peace, you might set a boundary to avoid engaging in unnecessary conflicts or conversations that disrupt your calm. Defining your values brings clarity, helping you understand what you're willing to tolerate and where you need to draw the line. When your boundaries are aligned with your values, they're easier to uphold because they resonate with who you are at your core. Setting boundaries also requires a strong sense of self-worth. Often, people struggle to establish boundaries because they fear rejection or conflict. However, when you believe in your worth, you recognize that protecting your emotional space is not selfish, it's essential. Boundaries become an act of self-respect, a way to show yourself that your peace and well-being matter. If someone tries to dismiss or push past your boundaries, having a sense of self-worth empowers you to stand firm, knowing that you don't need to compromise yourself to keep others happy. Remember that you deserve relationships that respect your limits. Boundaries are a way to filter out the people who truly value you from those who only seek to take advantage of your time and energy. Another critical element in setting boundaries is practicing assertive communication. For many, expressing boundaries feels intimidating, especially if they worry about how others will react. But being assertive doesn't mean being aggressive. It means clearly and calmly expressing your needs and limits. For example, if someone frequently interrupts your work with personal matters, an assertive response might sound like, "I value our friendship, but during work hours, I need to stay focused. Let's catch up after I'm done." This approach is respectful yet firm, allowing you to communicate your boundary without anger or resentment. Assertive communication reduces misunderstandings, making it clear where you stand and what you're comfortable with. When others understand your boundaries, they're more likely to respect them, giving you the emotional space you need to thrive. Consistency is also key in setting boundaries. It's one thing to express a boundary, but if you don't consistently uphold it, people may see it as negotiable. For instance, if you set a boundary about not answering work emails after hours, but occasionally respond anyway, it sends a mixed message. To effectively protect your emotional space, you need to be consistent in enforcing your boundaries. This consistency not only reinforces the boundary, but also builds trust with yourself, proving that you're committed to honoring your needs. The more consistent you are, the more naturally people will come to respect your limits, seeing them as non-negotiable aspects of your relationship. Another powerful aspect of boundary setting is knowing when to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear disappointing others or being perceived as unhelpful. However, saying no is a crucial boundary that protects your time, energy, and mental health. When you say no to demands that don't align with your values or capacity, you're saying yes to yourself. To get comfortable with saying no, remember that you're not responsible for everyone's happiness or convenience. People who respect you will understand your limitations, while those who react poorly likely don't have your best interests at heart. Practicing the art of saying no without guilt is a powerful way to assert your boundaries and prioritize your well-being. It's also essential to recognize and manage boundary violators. Some people will respect your boundaries without issue, but others may repeatedly test or ignore them. Identifying these boundary violators is important because it allows you to be proactive in protecting your space. For instance, if someone continually disregards your request for personal time, they may need firmer limits or less access to your life. By recognizing these patterns, you can adjust your boundaries accordingly, reducing interactions or enforcing stricter limits to maintain your peace. It's not about shutting people out, but ensuring that you interact in ways that respect your well-being. Managing boundary violators helps you avoid emotional drain, allowing you to focus on relationships that uplift and respect you. Another critical part of boundary setting is learning to detach from others' reactions. When you set a boundary, not everyone will respond positively, and that's okay. Some may react with frustration, guilt-tripping, or even attempts to make you feel responsible for their feelings. However, detaching from these reactions allows you to uphold your boundary without getting pulled into their emotions. Remember, their response is not a reflection of your worth or the validity of your boundary. Detachment lets you stay grounded, reminding you that setting boundaries is about protecting your peace, not pleasing others. By letting go of the need for approval, you free yourself to create the boundaries that genuinely serve you, regardless of others' opinions. Practicing self-care is also essential in boundary setting. Boundaries are easier to uphold when you're well-rested, emotionally balanced, and clear-minded. Self-care strengthens your resolve, giving you the energy and clarity needed to maintain your limits. When you prioritize self-care, you're more attuned to your needs, making it easier to recognize when a boundary has been crossed. Self-care doesn't just mean physical rest. It includes activities that rejuvenate your mind and spirit, whether it's spending time in nature, meditating, or pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. By caring for yourself, you're building a strong foundation that makes it easier to enforce your boundaries, creating a life that nurtures rather than depletes you. Another important aspect of boundary setting is cultivating relationships that respect and support your boundaries. When you surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your well-being, boundaries become less of a struggle. Supportive relationships recognize your limits and respect them without question, providing a safe space where you can be yourself without fear of judgment or pressure. These connections reinforce the value of boundaries, showing you that mutual respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Seek out friendships and connections that honor your emotional space, and don't hesitate to distance yourself from those who repeatedly ignore or challenge your boundaries. A supportive network strengthens your confidence in boundary setting, reminding you that you deserve relationships that uplift and respect you. Self-reflection is another essential tool in defining your emotional space. Regularly take time to assess your boundaries and how they're impacting your life. Reflect on whether your boundaries are serving you or if they need adjustment. Sometimes, as you grow or your circumstances change, your boundaries will need to evolve as well. Self-reflection allows you to stay aligned with your current needs, ensuring that your boundaries are effective in protecting your emotional space. This practice also helps you recognize areas where you may need to be firmer or more flexible, depending on what best supports your well-being. By continually refining your boundaries through self-reflection, you create a life that aligns with your values and nurtures your growth. Setting emotional boundaries also involves letting go of people-pleasing tendencies. Many people fall into the habit of people-pleasing, fearing that setting boundaries will make them appear selfish or unkind. However, people-pleasing often leads to resentment, as you sacrifice your needs to accommodate others. Letting go of people-pleasing frees you to set boundaries that reflect your true needs, rather than those shaped by external expectations. It's important to remember that you're not responsible for making everyone happy. Boundaries allow you to maintain your integrity, ensuring that your actions are aligned with your well-being rather than driven by a desire for approval. Releasing the habit of people-pleasing strengthens your confidence, enabling you to set boundaries without guilt or hesitation. Another aspect of boundary setting is trusting your intuition. Your intuition often knows when a boundary is being tested or crossed before your mind can fully process it. By tuning into your gut feelings, you can sense when a situation is draining or when someone's behavior feels off. Trusting this inner guidance allows you to respond promptly, setting boundaries before the situation escalates. Your intuition is a valuable ally in protecting your emotional space, as it helps you detect subtle cues and make decisions that prioritize your peace. By listening to your intuition, you become more attuned to your own needs, making it easier to establish and uphold boundaries that truly serve you. Boundary setting also includes embracing the power of choice. Every boundary you set is a choice, a decision to protect your emotional space. Recognizing the power of choice empowers you to take control of your life, knowing that you have the right to decide what you will and won't tolerate. For example, if someone regularly drains your energy with negative comments, choosing to limit your interactions is a powerful boundary that prioritizes your well-being. Embracing choice reinforces the fact that you're in charge of your life, not a passive participant. Boundaries are tools that give you agency, allowing you to create a life that aligns with your values and respects your emotional needs. Practicing gratitude reinforces the strength of your boundaries. When you're grateful for your own efforts in setting and maintaining boundaries, you cultivate a positive relationship with yourself. Gratitude reminds you that boundaries are acts of self-love, a way of honoring your own worth. By appreciating your commitment to protecting your emotional space, you reinforce your resolve, making it easier to uphold your boundaries with confidence. Gratitude also shifts your focus from any external pushback to the internal benefits of living authentically. When you acknowledge and celebrate the boundaries you've set, you're more likely to continue defining and respecting your emotional space, building a life of fulfillment and peace. With each boundary, you are carving out a safe space for yourself, a life where your emotional well-being takes priority. Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to a healthier, more balanced existence. They allow you to interact with others from a place of strength, knowing that your peace is protected. Through these practices, you can create a life that respects your needs, values, and energy, building relationships and experiences that genuinely support your growth and happiness. Building on the importance of setting boundaries, it's equally essential to understand why clear boundaries are vital for a healthy, balanced life, and how to maintain them without the burden of guilt. Boundaries serve as the foundation for emotional well-being, self-respect, and inner peace. Without them, we risk becoming overwhelmed, sacrificing our own needs and values to please others or to avoid conflict. But maintaining boundaries can be challenging, especially when feelings of guilt creep in, making us second-guess our limits or worry about disappointing others. It's common to question whether we're being too harsh or selfish by enforcing boundaries. But the truth is that boundaries are acts of self-care, not acts of exclusion. The first reason establishing boundaries is essential is that they help protect your mental and emotional health. Boundaries create a buffer that shields you from negativity, stress, and emotional exhaustion. When you set clear limits on how much access others have to your time and emotions, you create a space where you can recharge and process your thoughts without interference. This isn't just beneficial, it's crucial for maintaining mental clarity and emotional stability. For example, limiting interactions with people who constantly bring up negative topics allows you to avoid emotional drain, leaving you with more energy to focus on what truly matters to you. Boundaries offer a structure within which you can thrive, enabling you to engage with others on your terms, not theirs. Boundaries also reinforce self-respect. When you establish limits that reflect your values and priorities, you're sending a message to yourself that your needs are valid. This practice strengthens your self-worth, as you're no longer compromising your comfort or beliefs to accommodate others. Maintaining boundaries becomes a powerful way to affirm that your well-being is a priority. For instance, if someone frequently interrupts your personal time with demands, setting a boundary that protects that time shows self-respect. You're asserting that your needs are important and that you don't have to sacrifice them to meet others' expectations. By valuing your boundaries, you build a strong foundation of self-respect that reinforces your confidence in every interaction. Learning to maintain boundaries without guilt is essential, because guilt is often the very reason people struggle to uphold them. Many people feel guilty because they fear being perceived as unkind or unhelpful, but it's important to remember that boundaries are about protecting yourself, not about rejecting others. If you've set a boundary to protect your peace, there's no reason to feel guilty. It's a necessary act of self-care. Guilt often comes from the belief that we owe others more than we owe ourselves, a notion that can lead to burnout and resentment. By reframing boundaries as self-preservation rather than selfishness, you can release guilt and stand firm in your decisions. Remember, protecting your energy is a fundamental part of living a balanced and fulfilling life. Another reason boundaries are essential is that they define the kind of relationships you want to cultivate. Healthy boundaries attract people who respect you, while those who push past your boundaries often reveal a lack of regard for your well-being. Boundaries are like a filter, allowing positive, supportive connections to flourish while discouraging unhealthy or one-sided relationships. When you communicate your limits, those who genuinely value you will respect them without hesitation, understanding that boundaries are part of a healthy relationship. By consistently upholding boundaries, you naturally create a circle of people who uplift you, creating an environment that fosters mutual respect and growth. This practice encourages genuine connections that align with your values, ultimately enriching your life. Maintaining boundaries without guilt also helps prevent resentment from building. When you compromise your boundaries to avoid conflict or please others, resentment can gradually build, affecting your interactions and overall happiness. Over time, this resentment can turn into frustration or even bitterness, damaging relationships and making you feel undervalued. By standing firm in your boundaries, you prevent these feelings from festering, allowing you to engage with others from a place of balance and honesty. Maintaining boundaries not only protects you, but also preserves the health of your relationships, as you're less likely to harbor hidden resentment when you're clear about your needs and expectations. This transparency fosters trust and open communication, creating a foundation for healthier connections. Boundaries are also essential for personal growth, as they allow you to focus on your own goals and aspirations without unnecessary distractions. When you set limits on how much you give to others, you free up time and energy to invest in your personal development. This doesn't mean neglecting others, but rather recognizing that your growth is just as important as your commitments to others. For instance, if you set a boundary to protect time for a passion project or study, you're prioritizing your growth, which ultimately benefits both you and those around you. By creating space for your own progress, boundaries empower you to reach your potential, fostering a sense of fulfillment and purpose. Maintaining boundaries in this way shows that you value your dreams, treating them with the respect they deserve. One powerful way to maintain boundaries without guilt is to remind yourself that boundaries are about quality, not quantity. It's easy to feel guilty for setting limits because it may seem like you're giving less to people, but boundaries actually enhance the quality of your interactions. When you're not constantly overextending yourself, You're able to give your full attention and energy to each person or activity you engage with. Instead of feeling spread thin, you can be fully present, offering genuine support and care. This approach not only improves the quality of your relationships, but also allows you to enjoy them more deeply, as you're engaging from a place of fullness rather than fatigue. Boundaries help you prioritize meaningful connections, enriching your life without the need for guilt. Boundaries also allow you to set an example of self-respect for others. When people see you respecting your own limits, it encourages them to do the same. By upholding your boundaries, you're modeling healthy behavior, showing others that it's okay to prioritize one's own needs without guilt or fear of judgment. This can inspire friends, family, or colleagues to establish their own boundaries, creating a culture of mutual respect. You're not only protecting your peace, but also fostering an environment where everyone feels empowered to value their well-being. This example can have a ripple effect, encouraging healthier dynamics in all areas of life, from personal relationships to professional settings. Another important aspect of guilt-free boundary maintenance is accepting that not everyone will understand or agree with your boundaries, and that's okay. Some people may feel entitled to your time or expect you to be available whenever they need, but their expectations do not define your reality. It's natural to worry about disappointing others, but remember that their understanding or approval is not a requirement for you to honor your needs. Standing firm in your boundaries, even if others don't agree, is a sign of self-assurance and independence. You're not responsible for managing others' feelings about your boundaries. You're responsible for protecting your peace. By releasing the need for external validation, you empower yourself to maintain boundaries that align with your true values. Maintaining boundaries without guilt also involves practicing kindness in your communication. Boundaries can be expressed with compassion, making it clear that you're not rejecting the person, only their request. For example, if someone asks for a favor that you don't have the time or energy to fulfill, a kind but firm response might be, "I'd love to help, but I have other commitments right now." This approach respects both your needs and the other person's feelings, reducing any potential tension or misunderstanding. Compassionate communication helps you uphold your boundaries while maintaining positive relationships, allowing you to say no without feeling harsh or unkind. It's a way of honoring your limits with grace, reinforcing that boundaries are a form of care, both for yourself and for others. An essential step in guilt-free boundary maintenance is reminding yourself of the long-term benefits of boundaries. It's easy to feel momentary guilt after setting a boundary, but consider how this boundary will protect your well-being in the future. Boundaries help you avoid burnout, maintain emotional balance, and reduce stress, which are all essential for living a fulfilling life. Each time you enforce a boundary, you're investing in your long-term happiness and stability, creating a life that aligns with your needs and values. This perspective can alleviate guilt, as you're choosing what's best for you in the long run, even if it's challenging in the moment. Boundaries are an investment in your future well-being, a choice to create a balanced and intentional life. Releasing guilt around boundaries involves building a strong support system. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your boundaries can make a significant difference in how you feel about upholding them. Supportive friends, family members, or colleagues will understand and encourage your need for boundaries, offering validation and reassurance. When you have people in your life who respect your limits, it becomes easier to release guilt because you see that true connection doesn't require constant availability. A strong support system reinforces the value of boundaries, showing you that healthy relationships honor each person's needs. This network of support reminds you that you're not alone in your boundary journey, empowering you to stand firm with confidence. Each of these practices serves to strengthen your boundaries, ensuring that they protect your well-being without the burden of guilt. Boundaries are a declaration of self-worth, a choice to live with intention and integrity. By honoring your limits, you create a life that respects your values, offering you the freedom to engage with others from a place of fullness and joy. As we explore further ways to protect our peace and boundaries, emotional detachment becomes an invaluable skill. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean becoming indifferent or disconnected from those around us. Rather, it's about understanding that not everything directed toward us is truly about us. This mindset allows us to approach situations and relationships with calm clarity, recognizing that people's reactions, words, and behaviors are often more reflective of their own internal struggles than anything we've done. By mastering emotional detachment, we can engage with others without feeling overly affected by their moods or actions. This practice liberates us from unnecessary stress, allowing us to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. The first step in emotional detachment is recognizing the difference between personal responsibility and external influence. It's easy to fall into the habit of taking others' words and behaviors personally, feeling as though we're somehow responsible for their moods or reactions. However, detachment teaches us to separate our actions from others' responses, understanding that each person's emotional state is largely shaped by their own perceptions, beliefs, and life experiences. When someone criticizes or reacts negatively, emotional detachment allows us to observe their response without feeling responsible for it. This doesn't mean ignoring their feelings, but rather understanding that we're not obligated to take on the burden of others' emotions. One powerful tool for emotional detachment is the practice of self-reflection. When faced with a situation that stirs up strong feelings, self-reflection allows us to examine whether these emotions are truly about the situation at hand or if they're rooted in past experiences or insecurities. By taking a step back and reflecting on our reactions, we can identify patterns and understand why certain behaviors affect us deeply. For instance, if someone's criticism feels particularly hurtful, self-reflection might reveal that we're sensitive to criticism because of past experiences. This insight helps us see that the intensity of our reaction may not be entirely about the present moment, enabling us to detach and approach the situation more objectively. Mindfulness is another essential aspect of emotional detachment. By staying present and fully engaged in the current moment, we can avoid becoming overwhelmed by emotional responses to things that may not actually impact us. Mindfulness encourages us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, allowing us to experience emotions without becoming consumed by them. When we're mindful, we notice our emotional reactions as they arise, but choose not to act on them impulsively. For example, if a friend's remark stings, mindfulness helps us pause, observe the feeling, and let it pass without letting it shape our mood or self-perception. Mindfulness teaches us to let emotions flow rather than cling to them, enabling us to interact with others from a place of calm understanding. Another valuable tool in emotional detachment is embracing the concept of empathy without absorption. Empathy allows us to understand and relate to others' emotions, but without detachment, empathy can sometimes lead us to absorb others' pain, anger, or stress as if it were our own. By practicing empathy with detachment, we can show compassion for others without letting their emotional states disrupt our peace. This balanced approach allows us to offer support without feeling weighed down by their burdens. If a friend is going through a difficult time, for instance, empathy with detachment enables us to listen and provide comfort without internalizing their distress. This practice preserves our energy while still allowing us to be there for others in a meaningful way. Setting boundaries with our emotional investment is another key element in detachment. Often, We invest a lot of emotion in how others perceive us or how they react to what we say or do. Emotional detachment means recognizing that we don't have to put so much weight on others' perceptions or expectations. Setting boundaries with our emotions means deciding how much of ourselves we're willing to invest in each interaction or relationship. For example, in a work environment, emotional detachment might mean doing your best without becoming overly concerned with colleagues' opinions. This mindset creates a sense of freedom, as we no longer feel the need to meet every expectation or seek approval in all interactions. Emotional boundaries give us control over our responses, enabling us to focus on our values rather than external validation. Perspective shifting is also a crucial aspect of emotional detachment. By viewing situations from a broader perspective, we can avoid getting caught up in the immediate emotions of the moment. For instance, if someone reacts harshly or dismissively rather than feeling hurt, we can step back and consider what might be influencing their behavior. Maybe they're dealing with stress or personal struggles unrelated to us. This shift in perspective helps us see that their reaction isn't necessarily a reflection of our worth or actions. By focusing on the bigger picture, we can approach interactions with empathy and understanding, recognizing that people's reactions are often driven by factors beyond our control. Perspective shifting allows us to detach emotionally, preventing us from taking things to heart unnecessarily. Practicing acceptance is also essential for detaching from others' behavior. Acceptance means acknowledging that people are who they are, with their own strengths, flaws, and unique perspectives. When we practice acceptance, we're less likely to take offense or feel disappointed by others' actions because we understand that everyone is on their own journey. Acceptance doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but it does mean recognizing that we can't change others. By accepting people as they are, we free ourselves from the frustration of trying to control their actions or emotions. Acceptance allows us to approach relationships with a sense of calm detachment, knowing that our happiness isn't dependent on others meeting our expectations. Another powerful tool for emotional detachment is the Stoic practice of focusing on what's within our control. Toxic people often try to provoke reactions, drawing us into their emotional turbulence. By concentrating on what we can control, our thoughts, responses, and attitudes, we can remain centered, regardless of how others behave. When someone attempts to manipulate or push our buttons, detachment allows us to choose our response rather than being driven by their actions. This sense of control empowers us to engage thoughtfully without feeling pressured to react. Focusing on what's within our control builds emotional resilience, as we're no longer at the mercy of others' behaviors or opinions. Visualization is another effective technique for emotional detachment. Visualization involves creating a mental image of a peaceful, protected space within yourself, a place where others' words or actions can't disturb your inner calm. By visualizing this space, you reinforce a sense of safety and distance from external negativity. When faced with challenging interactions, return to this visualization, reminding yourself that your peace is separate from others' influence. This mental exercise strengthens your ability to remain unaffected by toxic behavior, reinforcing that your emotional state is a protected sanctuary. Visualization gives you a practical way to practice detachment, offering a steady anchor of calm even in turbulent situations. Practicing self-validation also plays a critical role in emotional detachment. Many times, we feel hurt or unsettled by others' words because we're seeking validation or approval from them. Emotional detachment encourages us to look within for validation rather than relying on external sources. By acknowledging our own worth and affirming our choices, we reduce the impact of others' opinions. Self-validation builds confidence, making it easier to detach from criticism or judgment. When we validate ourselves, we're less vulnerable to others' attempts to undermine our self-esteem. Self-validation empowers us to live authentically, unburdened by the need for constant approval from others. A helpful approach to emotional detachment is developing a sense of humor about life's challenges. Humor allows us to view situations with a lighter heart, reducing the intensity of our emotional reactions. When someone behaves irrationally or rudely, humor helps us see the absurdity rather than taking it personally. By laughing at the small annoyances, we can detach from them, realizing that not every interaction requires a serious response. Humor acts as a buffer, providing emotional distance from situations that might otherwise trigger frustration or anger. This playful perspective helps us maintain our peace as we're able to move through life's challenges with resilience and positivity. Practicing gratitude is a valuable technique for emotional detachment. Gratitude shifts our focus from what's lacking or negative to what we appreciate in our lives. When faced with difficult people or situations, gratitude reminds us of the positive aspects of our lives, making it easier to detach from negativity. For example, if someone's behavior is challenging, gratitude can help us focus on the supportive people or fulfilling activities we enjoy. This shift in focus reduces the emotional weight of difficult interactions, allowing us to respond with calmness and compassion. Gratitude creates a protective emotional space, helping us maintain a balanced perspective, even in the face of challenges. Through each of these practices, emotional detachment becomes not only possible, but transformative. By learning to separate ourselves from others' behaviors and emotions, we create a life anchored in inner peace and resilience. Detachment enables us to engage with others compassionately without sacrificing our own well-being. We can navigate relationships with clarity and grace, recognizing that our happiness is not dependent on others' actions. Emotional detachment is a gift of freedom, offering us the strength to respond thoughtfully and live fully without being weighed down by the external influences around us. Understanding emotional detachment leads naturally to a powerful realization. Toxic behavior often says more about the person exhibiting it than about you. Recognizing that these actions reflect their inner struggles, unresolved issues, or insecurities is incredibly freeing. It allows you to see others' behavior through a lens of clarity, preventing you from internalizing their negativity. When you understand that toxic actions are usually projections of someone's own turmoil, you gain the ability to protect your self-esteem and keep your peace intact. This perspective lets you engage with challenging people without losing your sense of self-worth or being dragged into unnecessary conflict. One key aspect of recognizing that toxic behavior reflects the other person's issues is understanding projection. Projection happens when people transfer their own feelings, fears, or insecurities onto others, usually without realizing it. For example, if someone accuses you of being selfish, it could stem from their own struggle with self-centeredness. They may feel uncomfortable about their behavior, but instead of addressing it within themselves, they cast that feeling onto you. By recognizing projection, you can avoid internalizing others' accusations, understanding that these statements often reveal more about the speaker than about you. This perspective provides a shield against emotional harm, allowing you to see their behavior as an expression of their own inner conflict rather than a reflection of your actions. Another aspect of understanding toxic behavior is acknowledging the role of unresolved pain or trauma. Many people act out of unresolved hurts or fears, even if they're unaware of it. Toxic behavior often arises as a defense mechanism to protect themselves from perceived threats or vulnerabilities. For example, someone who constantly belittles others may be struggling with feelings of inadequacy, using criticism as a way to feel superior. When you recognize this dynamic, it becomes easier to respond with compassion rather than taking their actions personally. You're able to see beyond the surface behavior, understanding that their actions are rooted in pain or insecurity rather than any genuine issue with you. This knowledge empowers you to disengage emotionally, maintaining your self-worth regardless of their behavior. Understanding that others' toxic behaviors stem from their own struggles also involves seeing how insecurity shapes their interactions. People who lack confidence or feel threatened are often more likely to engage in toxic actions, such as manipulation, criticism, or attempts to control others. These behaviors often reflect a desire to mask their own perceived shortcomings. For instance, a person who constantly seeks to undermine your achievements may feel threatened by your success because it highlights their own insecurities. Recognizing this motive allows you to see their behavior in a new light, understanding that their actions are not a reflection of your worth, but rather an attempt to cope with their own feelings of inadequacy. This awareness gives you the freedom to focus on your path without being affected by their attempts to bring you down. Another crucial point in recognizing toxic behavior as a reflection of others' issues is understanding the role of jealousy. Jealousy can drive people to act in ways that are hurtful or dismissive as they struggle to cope with their own desires or unfulfilled goals. When someone is envious, they may resort to undermining your success or diminishing your happiness to feel better about themselves. By recognizing jealousy as the root of their behavior, you can avoid feeling hurt or defensive. Instead, you can see their actions for what they are, a manifestation of their own inner conflict. This perspective allows you to rise above their negativity, focusing on your goals without being swayed by their attempts to distract or discourage you. Another factor in understanding toxic behavior is recognizing how fear influences people's actions. Fear can manifest in various ways, from avoidance and deflection to aggression and control. People who feel threatened or fearful may lash out to create a sense of control over their environment. For example, a person who is afraid of vulnerability may push others away with harsh words or unkind actions to protect themselves from potential hurt. When you realize that their actions are motivated by fear rather than any genuine issue with you, it's easier to avoid personalizing their behavior. This awareness enables you to approach their actions with empathy rather than defensiveness, keeping your peace intact and responding from a place of strength. Understanding that toxic actions often stem from others' internal issues also helps you develop compassion. When you view someone's behavior as a product of their own struggles, you're less likely to react with anger or resentment. Compassion doesn't mean excusing harmful actions, but it does allow you to approach situations with a more open heart, seeing beyond the surface of the behavior. By cultivating compassion, you maintain a sense of inner calm and avoid being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Compassion acts as a buffer, reminding you that their behavior is about them, not about you. This perspective gives you the strength to respond calmly, focusing on your own well-being without becoming entangled in their issues. Recognizing that others' issues drive their toxic behavior also reinforces the importance of setting boundaries. When you understand that their actions are rooted in personal struggles, it becomes clear that you're not responsible for managing or fixing their behavior. Boundaries allow you to protect your emotional space without feeling guilty for not tolerating harmful actions. By setting limits on how much access they have to your life, you can engage with them on your terms rather than getting caught up in their issues. This boundary not only preserves your peace, but also reinforces the message that their struggles do not entitle them to disrupt your well-being. Boundaries empower you to maintain your sense of self, reminding you that you are in control of who influences your emotional world. Another benefit of recognizing toxic behavior as a reflection of others' issues is the ability to practice forgiveness more easily. When you understand that their actions stem from personal struggles, forgiveness becomes a tool for freeing yourself rather than condoning their behavior. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing harmful actions. It means letting go of resentment so you can move forward without emotional baggage. By forgiving those who act out of their own unresolved issues, you release the hold their behavior might have on you. This freedom allows you to approach future interactions with a fresh perspective, unburdened by past grievances. Forgiveness, in this sense, is an act of self-liberation, enabling you to maintain your peace and focus on what genuinely matters. Recognizing that toxic actions are often projections of others' inner conflicts also empowers you to prioritize self-care. Understanding that their behavior isn't a reflection of your worth gives you the clarity to focus on nurturing your own mental and emotional health. Self-care becomes a way to reinforce your inner resilience, ensuring that you remain centered and balanced regardless of others' actions. By investing in your well-being, you're better equipped to handle challenging situations without becoming emotionally affected. Self-care serves as a reminder that your value is inherent, independent of how others treat you. This focus on self-care strengthens your sense of self-worth, allowing you to engage with others from a place of confidence and clarity. A practical aspect of recognizing toxic behavior as a reflection of others' issues is learning to remain calm in challenging interactions. When you understand that their behavior isn't truly about you, it becomes easier to stay composed rather than reacting emotionally. By keeping your composure, you create a sense of control over the interaction, preventing their negativity from affecting your peace. Calmness allows you to observe the situation objectively, responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This practice reinforces your inner strength, enabling you to engage with others without compromising your emotional stability. Remaining calm not only protects your peace, but also sends a powerful message that you are unaffected by their attempts to provoke you. This understanding also encourages you to focus on your growth rather than getting sidetracked by others' issues. When you recognize that their behavior stems from personal struggles, you can channel your energy toward your own development rather than investing it in trying to understand or fix them. By focusing on your path, you create a sense of purpose that isn't influenced by their actions. This focus on personal growth reinforces your independence, reminding you that your progress is not dependent on others' approval or validation. By prioritizing your journey, you maintain a sense of direction, allowing you to rise above negativity and continue moving forward with confidence. Another advantage of recognizing that toxic behavior reflects others' issues is that it allows you to let go of perfectionism. Often, people are quick to internalize criticism, believing they must be at fault when others react negatively. However, by understanding that their behavior is rooted in their own issues, you release the pressure to be perfect or to please everyone. Letting go of perfectionism frees you to embrace your authentic self, knowing that you don't have to meet everyone's expectations to be valuable. This mindset encourages self-acceptance, allowing you to be kind to yourself rather than seeking validation from those who may never be satisfied. By letting go of perfectionism, you reclaim your right to be imperfect, focusing on your growth rather than unrealistic standards. Recognizing that toxic actions are often the result of unresolved issues within others also fosters emotional resilience. When you no longer view their behavior as a personal attack, you become more resilient in the face of negativity. This resilience allows you to navigate life's challenges without being easily discouraged or affected by others' opinions. Emotional resilience enables you to bounce back from difficult situations with a positive outlook, knowing that your worth isn't defined by how others perceive you. This strength empowers you to live authentically, guided by your values rather than the changing tides of others' emotions. Resilience becomes a shield, protecting your inner peace from external disruptions. Each of these insights reinforces the understanding that others' toxic behavior is a reflection of their own issues, not a measure of your worth. This perspective provides you with the freedom to focus on your own journey, unhindered by the emotional turmoil of others. It allows you to maintain your sense of self and live with authenticity, creating a life that aligns with your values and well-being. By recognizing that others' actions are not about you, you gain the ability to engage with the world from a place of strength and clarity, unshaken by external negativity. As we deepen our understanding of how others' behavior often reflects their own issues, a powerful tool for navigating toxic interactions emerges: cognitive reframing. This approach involves consciously changing how we interpret challenging situations, transforming negative experiences into learning opportunities and fostering resilience. By practicing cognitive reframing, you train your mind to look beyond the initial sting of interactions, seeing them through a lens of growth and understanding rather than hurt or frustration. Reframing isn't about ignoring reality, but about finding ways to interpret situations that preserve your peace and keep you empowered. With this approach, every encounter becomes an opportunity to build mental strength and enhance your outlook on life. The foundation of cognitive reframing lies in recognizing that thoughts shape feelings. When faced with toxic behavior, our immediate reaction is often to feel hurt, frustrated, or defensive. These emotions are natural, but they're largely influenced by how we interpret the situation. Reframing allows us to shift these interpretations, thereby changing our emotional response. For example, if someone speaks to you harshly, your initial interpretation might be that they're disrespectful or that you've done something wrong. By reframing, you can consider alternative explanations, such as recognizing that they may be having a bad day or dealing with personal stress. This shift in perspective helps you maintain a sense of calm, allowing you to respond with compassion instead of reacting emotionally. One effective strategy in cognitive reframing is to look for the lesson within each interaction. Toxic behavior often feels disruptive, but it can also provide insights into how we handle adversity and where we might need to strengthen our boundaries. By seeing each interaction as a learning experience, you shift from feeling like a victim of someone's negativity to becoming an active participant in your growth. If someone continually criticizes you, for example, the lesson might be to develop confidence in your own judgment or to reinforce your boundaries. Focusing on the lesson allows you to extract value from the experience, turning a difficult situation into a stepping stone for self-improvement. Another powerful reframing technique is to separate the action from the person. It's easy to label someone entirely as toxic based on a few negative interactions, but cognitive reframing encourages us to view the behavior rather than the person as problematic. By focusing on specific actions rather than labeling individuals, we avoid developing resentful feelings toward them. For instance, if someone consistently interrupts you, instead of viewing them as inherently rude, you can see their actions as a sign that they may struggle with listening skills or awareness. This approach makes it easier to respond calmly, focusing on the behavior rather than harboring negative emotions toward the person. Reframing in this way allows you to address specific issues without personalizing or magnifying the situation. Practicing gratitude is also a valuable part of cognitive reframing. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the challenges within a toxic interaction, but it allows you to focus on what remains positive in your life despite the negativity you may encounter. When dealing with a difficult person, take a moment to reflect on the supportive people or positive experiences that surround you. This shift helps you realize that one negative interaction doesn't define your entire day or life. Gratitude serves as a grounding tool, reminding you of the abundance in your life and reducing the emotional impact of the toxic interaction. By embracing gratitude, you shift your attention away from the negativity, allowing you to maintain a balanced perspective. Another element of reframing involves seeing challenging people as mirrors that reflect areas where we can grow. Difficult interactions can bring out aspects of ourselves we may not be aware of, such as impatience, defensiveness, or the need for approval. Instead of seeing these as flaws, cognitive reframing helps us view them as areas for self-reflection and development. If someone's behavior makes you feel particularly defensive, it may be an opportunity to examine why their words affect you so deeply. This reflection can lead to personal insights, showing you where you might need to strengthen your self-confidence or let go of the need for validation. By viewing others as mirrors, you use each interaction as a chance to deepen your self-awareness and grow beyond your triggers. Cognitive reframing also involves practicing acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean passively tolerating harmful behavior, but rather acknowledging that people act based on their own beliefs, experiences, and challenges. When you accept that others' actions are beyond your control, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to change them. This acceptance allows you to reframe the situation, focusing on how you can adapt rather than feeling powerless. If someone consistently tries to provoke you, acceptance reminds you that their behavior is their responsibility, not yours. This perspective helps you respond from a place of calm and clarity, focusing on your own actions rather than being weighed down by the desire to control the outcome. Another powerful reframing technique is to focus on the bigger picture. Toxic interactions can feel consuming in the moment, but stepping back and looking at the broader context can help you see the situation in perspective. Remind yourself that one difficult interaction doesn't define your relationship with the person or your overall well-being. This approach helps you avoid magnifying the issue, allowing you to see it as a small part of a larger, more complex life. By focusing on the bigger picture, you reduce the emotional weight of the interaction, allowing you to respond with patience and maintain a sense of inner peace. Reframing toxic interactions also involves finding humor in the situation. Humor is a powerful tool for releasing tension and gaining emotional distance. When you view a situation through a humorous lens, it becomes easier to detach from it emotionally, reducing its impact on your peace of mind. If someone is particularly dramatic or exaggerated in their negativity, humor allows you to see their behavior as almost theatrical rather than something you need to take seriously. This playful perspective can help you stay calm, recognizing that not every interaction has to be so intense. Humor lightens the emotional load, reminding you that you have the power to choose how much weight you give to others' behavior. Another aspect of cognitive reframing is adopting a growth mindset. This mindset encourages you to see every challenge as an opportunity for improvement. When faced with toxic behavior, ask yourself how you can use the experience to strengthen your emotional resilience or improve your communication skills. A growth mindset shifts your focus from avoiding discomfort to embracing it as part of your personal development. For example, if someone's behavior pushes your buttons, see it as an opportunity to practice patience or assertiveness. By reframing challenges as growth opportunities, you transform toxic interactions into valuable life lessons, building resilience that serves you in all areas of life. Practicing empathy is another effective approach in reframing. Empathy allows you to understand that people often act out of their own pain, insecurities, or fears. When someone's behavior seems irrational or hurtful, empathy helps you see beyond the surface, recognizing that they may be struggling with their own inner battles. This doesn't mean excusing their behavior, but it does allow you to approach the situation with a more compassionate perspective. Empathy reduces the emotional charge of the interaction, helping you engage without resentment or judgment. By reframing the situation through empathy, you create a mental buffer, allowing you to remain calm and avoid taking their actions personally. Another key to reframing is focusing on what you can learn about your own boundaries. Toxic interactions often highlight areas where we need stronger boundaries or clearer communication. By seeing these interactions as reminders to reinforce your boundaries, you shift from feeling like a victim to becoming proactive in protecting your well-being. If someone continually oversteps your limits, cognitive reframing allows you to view it as a signal that your boundaries need reinforcement. This perspective empowers you to take action rather than feeling helpless or overwhelmed. Each interaction becomes a reminder of your right to maintain a healthy emotional space, strengthening your commitment to self-respect. A vital part of cognitive reframing is redirecting your energy toward what's within your control. Toxic people often try to provoke reactions, but by focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, responses, and emotions, you maintain a sense of empowerment. When someone's behavior is frustrating, ask yourself what positive action you can take instead of getting drawn into their negativity. Redirecting your energy toward your own well-being allows you to detach from their actions, focusing on constructive solutions rather than feeling entangled in the problem. This redirection reinforces your autonomy, reminding you that you have the power to create your own peace, regardless of external circumstances. Cognitive reframing encourages you to remember your goals and values. Toxic interactions can be distracting, pulling you away from what truly matters to you. By focusing on your goals and values, you reinforce your purpose and keep your energy directed toward what's important. This approach allows you to view toxic behavior as a minor disruption rather than a major obstacle. When someone's actions are frustrating, remind yourself of your goals and values, allowing them to guide your response. This focus strengthens your resilience, enabling you to rise above negativity and stay true to your path. Each of these reframing techniques empowers you to see toxic interactions from a perspective that preserves your peace, allowing you to engage without losing yourself. Through cognitive reframing, you transform challenges into opportunities, creating a mindset that turns negativity into growth. Reframing provides you with a lasting sense of strength and clarity, enabling you to navigate life with a steady mind and open heart. This approach allows you to live in alignment with your values, protected from the disruptive influence of toxic behavior. As we delve further into cognitive reframing, let's explore how shifting your perspective can serve as a powerful tool to safeguard your peace and protect your self-esteem. The way you interpret situations directly impacts your emotional state and self-worth. When challenging moments arise, having the ability to mentally reframe your thoughts can prevent negativity from taking root, allowing you to respond with confidence and resilience. Reframing isn't about denying reality, but about finding a perspective that serves you, one that keeps your self-esteem intact and your mind steady. This practice empowers you to turn each experience into an opportunity for growth, ultimately building a more balanced and fulfilling life. The first step in mentally reframing situations is understanding that your thoughts shape your emotions. When something negative happens, it's easy to default to thoughts that chip away at your peace and confidence. However, by consciously choosing your interpretation, you take control of your emotional experience. For example, if someone gives you unconstructive feedback, your initial reaction may be defensiveness or self-doubt. By reframing, you could view the feedback as a reflection of their perspective rather than an absolute judgment of your worth. This shift allows you to maintain your self-esteem and stay calm, understanding that their opinion doesn't define your abilities. With this perspective, you focus on what is useful without letting external opinions diminish your self-worth. Another powerful reframing technique is seeing setbacks as temporary rather than permanent. It's natural to feel discouraged by difficulties, but viewing them as passing events rather than enduring failures helps maintain hope and motivation. If a project at work doesn't go as planned, for instance, instead of labeling it as a personal failure, you can reframe it as a single setback within a larger journey of progress. This approach keeps you focused on the long-term picture, allowing you to learn from the experience without feeling that it defines you. By reminding yourself that setbacks are part of growth, you protect your self-esteem and continue moving forward with resilience. Reframing also involves questioning the assumptions you make about others' actions. Often, we interpret someone's behavior as a personal slight or judgment, which can harm our peace and self-worth. However, people's actions are frequently driven by their own emotions and circumstances rather than by anything we've done. For example, if a friend seems distant, your initial thought might be that they're upset with you. Reframing encourages you to consider other possibilities, such as them dealing with personal stress. This shift prevents you from internalizing their behavior, preserving your peace by reminding you that others' actions are not always about you. This perspective protects your self-esteem, reinforcing that you're not responsible for others' moods or reactions. Another useful approach in mental reframing is focusing on what you can control. When faced with challenges, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by factors beyond your control, which can lead to stress and a sense of helplessness. By redirecting your focus to what you can influence, you create a sense of empowerment. For instance, if you're dealing with a difficult colleague, rather than feeling discouraged by their behavior, you can reframe the situation by focusing on how you respond. This approach shifts your attention from what you can't change to what you can, your own actions, attitudes, and choices. By concentrating on your own power, you strengthen your self-esteem, knowing that your peace is within your control regardless of external circumstances. Practicing self-compassion is another essential part of reframing. When things don't go as expected, it's common to be hard on yourself, which can erode your self-esteem over time. Reframing allows you to treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend, recognizing that everyone faces difficulties and setbacks. For example, if you make a mistake, rather than thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can reframe it as, "This is a learning experience." Self-compassion encourages you to view challenges as part of being human, which protects your self-esteem and helps you move forward without harsh self-criticism. This gentler perspective fosters resilience, reminding you that your worth isn't defined by isolated events. Gratitude is also a powerful tool in reframing situations to preserve peace and self-worth. When you shift your focus to what you appreciate, you create an emotional buffer against negativity. In a challenging situation, gratitude allows you to see the positive aspects of your life, reminding you that one difficulty doesn't overshadow your overall well-being. For instance, if you face a setback at work, taking a moment to acknowledge supportive colleagues or other successes can help you maintain a balanced perspective. Gratitude shifts your attention from lack to abundance, reinforcing your self-worth by highlighting all the good that remains in your life. This practice strengthens your resilience, allowing you to face challenges with a sense of perspective and calm. Another key to reframing is focusing on personal growth. Challenges and setbacks can feel disheartening, but when you view them as opportunities to learn and grow, they become less intimidating. For instance, if you encounter criticism rather than seeing it as an attack, you can reframe it as a chance to improve. This mindset encourages you to see every situation as a stepping stone in your personal journey, which preserves your peace and self-esteem by reinforcing that each experience contributes to your development. Embracing growth-oriented thinking helps you approach life's challenges with optimism, allowing you to view even the most difficult situations as valuable experiences that ultimately strengthen your character. Cognitive reframing also involves shifting your perspective on failure. Instead of viewing failure as a reflection of inadequacy, you can see it as a natural part of the learning process. Everyone encounters failure at some point, and reframing helps you see these moments as essential for growth. When you interpret failure as feedback rather than a personal flaw, it becomes easier to maintain your self-esteem and keep your peace. By viewing failure as a teacher rather than a setback, you empower yourself to keep going, confident that each attempt brings you closer to success. This shift in perspective transforms failure from a threat to your self-worth into a valuable guide on your journey. Another effective reframing technique is setting realistic expectations. When we hold ourselves to unrealistic standards, we often feel disappointed or inadequate. By adjusting your expectations to be more compassionate and achievable, you reduce the likelihood of feeling let down. For example, if you're learning a new skill rather than expecting immediate mastery, you can reframe your goal as making steady progress. This approach takes the pressure off, allowing you to celebrate small victories rather than focusing on perceived shortcomings. Setting realistic expectations protects your self-esteem by reminding you that growth is gradual and that your worth isn't determined by perfection. Reframing also involves letting go of comparisons. Comparing ourselves to others can be detrimental to our peace and self-esteem, as it often leads to feelings of inadequacy. Instead of focusing on where you stand relative to others, reframing encourages you to measure your progress against your own journey. For instance, rather than feeling discouraged by a colleague's success, you can reframe the situation by celebrating your own unique achievements and the steps you've taken to reach your goals. This perspective helps you appreciate your individual path, strengthening your self-worth by reminding you that everyone's journey is different. Letting go of comparisons fosters contentment, allowing you to value your own progress without feeling overshadowed by others. A vital part of reframing is embracing imperfection as part of the human experience. Often, we feel pressure to meet high standards, but reframing reminds us that it's okay to make mistakes and have limitations. By accepting imperfection, you allow yourself the freedom to learn and grow without the constant burden of self-criticism. For instance, if you feel that you've fallen short in a task, reframing helps you see it as a learning moment rather than a flaw. Embracing imperfection protects your self-esteem, encouraging you to view yourself with compassion and understanding. This approach nurtures self-acceptance, allowing you to pursue your goals with resilience and confidence. Another aspect of reframing is cultivating a long-term perspective. When challenges arise, it's easy to become consumed by the immediate difficulty, but a long-term view can help you see that this moment is only one part of your larger journey. For example, if you're going through a rough patch in a relationship, reminding yourself of the strength and positive memories you've built over time can offer reassurance. This perspective reduces the emotional weight of temporary difficulties, preserving your peace by reminding you of the bigger picture. A long-term view encourages patience, helping you navigate tough times with optimism and resilience. Reframing also involves focusing on your values. When faced with negativity or difficult interactions, centering on your values reminds you of what truly matters. This approach helps you stay grounded, as it redirects your attention away from the immediate challenge to the principles that guide your life. For instance, if someone challenges your beliefs or actions, rather than feeling defensive, You can reframe the interaction by considering how your response aligns with your values. By staying true to your values, you reinforce your self-worth, knowing that your actions are based on integrity rather than the need for external validation. This focus on values strengthens your inner peace, reminding you that your sense of self isn't determined by others' opinions. Another reframing technique is adopting a mindset of gratitude for growth. Each challenge you face offers an opportunity to strengthen your skills, expand your perspective, or deepen your resilience. By viewing difficulties as tools for personal growth, you preserve your peace and self-esteem, knowing that each experience contributes to a wiser, more resilient self. This approach encourages you to welcome challenges rather than resist them, understanding that they're integral to your journey of self-discovery. A gratitude for growth mindset allows you to approach life's obstacles with openness, turning adversity into an ally that fuels your evolution. Each of these reframing techniques empowers you to approach life with confidence and calm, allowing you to preserve your peace and protect your self-esteem. Through mental reframing, you transform your perspective, viewing each situation as a chance to reinforce your resilience and deepen your self-understanding. This approach enables you to engage with life from a place of inner strength, unshaken by challenges and anchored in self-worth. Following our journey of reframing and preserving peace, it's essential to address how to handle people who don't show respect, drawing on timeless principles from Stoic philosophy. Dealing with disrespect can be draining and challenging, especially when it comes from people close to us or those we encounter regularly. However, by applying Stoic principles, you can transform these interactions, protecting your inner peace and maintaining dignity. Instead of letting disrespect chip away at your self-worth, you can approach it with calm and resilience, setting clear boundaries and ensuring that your response aligns with your values. A fundamental approach in handling disrespectful people is to practice emotional detachment. The Stoics emphasize the importance of not letting external actions disturb one's inner calm. This doesn't mean ignoring disrespect or allowing others to treat you poorly, but rather seeing their behavior as separate from your worth. When someone disrespects you, remind yourself that their behavior reflects their values, not yours. By not internalizing their actions, you create a mental shield that protects your peace. This practice of detachment enables you to observe their behavior without feeling personally attacked. Instead of reacting emotionally, you can calmly address the situation or set a boundary, secure in the knowledge that their actions don't define you. Another powerful Stoic principle in dealing with disrespect is to focus on what you can control, your response. Disrespectful people often aim to provoke or unsettle others, seeking to elicit a reaction. By choosing how you respond, you take back control of the situation. For example, if someone criticizes you harshly, rather than reacting defensively, you can calmly assess whether their feedback holds any truth or value. If it doesn't, you can dismiss it without letting it affect your peace. This approach not only demonstrates self-control, but also shows that you won't be drawn into negativity. By focusing on your response, you remain true to your values, proving to yourself that you can maintain dignity in any situation. Setting clear boundaries is another essential way to handle disrespect. Stoic philosophy teaches that it's our responsibility to protect our peace by defining what we will and won't tolerate. If someone consistently disrespects you, it's a sign that a boundary needs to be established. Boundaries don't have to be harsh or confrontational. They can be as simple as limiting your interactions with that person or politely letting them know that their behavior is unacceptable. For example, if a colleague frequently interrupts you, a gentle but firm boundary could be saying, "I'd appreciate it if we could each have a chance to speak without interruptions." This boundary communicates your expectation for respect while preserving your peace. Setting boundaries empowers you to manage interactions on your terms, reducing the impact of disrespectful behavior on your well-being. Practicing self-respect is also crucial in dealing with those who don't respect you. The Stoics believed that self-respect is foundational to inner peace, as it reminds us that our worth isn't dependent on others' opinions. When faced with disrespect, focus on affirming your own values and worth, rather than seeking validation from others. By nurturing self-respect, you strengthen your resilience, ensuring that disrespectful behavior doesn't affect your sense of self. This inner assurance allows you to respond calmly, knowing that you don't need external respect to feel valuable. Self-respect acts as a shield, empowering you to stand firm in your dignity regardless of how others treat you. Cultivating patience and perspective is key in managing disrespect with grace. Stoic philosophy teaches that others' behavior is beyond our control, but we can choose how to perceive it. When confronted with disrespect, practicing patience helps you avoid impulsive reactions, allowing you to maintain composure. Instead of focusing on the offense, consider the bigger picture. This moment is a small part of your day and doesn't define you. Perspective reminds you that one person's actions are insignificant in the grand scheme of your life, reducing the emotional weight of their behavior. Patience and perspective create a mental buffer, enabling you to approach disrespect from a place of strength, knowing that it doesn't diminish your worth or peace. By applying these Stoic principles, you cultivate the ability to handle disrespect with resilience and dignity, preserving your inner calm and reinforcing your self-worth. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice control, reinforcing that your peace is yours to protect, no matter how others behave. Through these approaches, you create a life anchored in self-respect and clarity, undisturbed by external disrespect. In transitioning from handling disrespect with dignity, it's intriguing to consider how to change the dynamics with those who don't value us, and even more, how to inspire a new level of attention and appreciation in them. While this may seem counterintuitive to the Stoic approach, which advocates detachment from the opinions of others, there is a powerful way to naturally capture someone's respect and fascination without resorting to manipulation or sacrificing integrity. By cultivating specific qualities within ourselves, we can inspire genuine interest and admiration in others. This is about personal growth and resilience, about mastering ourselves to such an extent that others can't help but take notice and appreciate the unique strength we embody. One foundational approach to shifting how others perceive you is by embracing a life driven by purpose and passion. People are naturally drawn to those who have a clear sense of direction, as it conveys confidence and fulfillment. When you pursue goals that matter deeply to you, others become intrigued by your dedication and the energy you radiate. Living with purpose creates a magnetic presence that commands respect and curiosity, drawing people toward you without any effort on your part to seek their validation. This authentic pursuit of your own path, free from the need for external approval, leads others to see you in a new light, sparking their curiosity and admiration. Another way to draw attention and admiration from those who may have undervalued you is by developing an unwavering emotional stability. Emotional stability is rare, and those who possess it stand out in a world where people often let their emotions dictate their actions. When you practice emotional resilience, responding to situations calmly and with composure, others will start to see you as someone reliable and strong. This trait becomes especially compelling when others expect a strong reaction or attempt to test your limits. By consistently displaying calmness, you shift the power dynamic, showing that you are in control and unshakable. People find emotional stability attractive because it represents inner strength, which naturally inspires respect and admiration. Building self-respect and setting firm boundaries is another powerful method to change how others perceive you. When you value yourself, setting boundaries that honor your needs and time, others begin to see you as someone who is not easily taken for granted. Self-respect sends a strong message that you won't tolerate being undervalued. For example, if someone who previously ignored you tries to reach out only when it's convenient for them, responding assertively and maintaining your boundaries subtly communicates that you won't be available on their terms alone. People are drawn to those who respect themselves because it reflects a sense of dignity and self-worth. This approach makes others more likely to value and even become invested in your presence, as they understand that you do not simply give it away without consideration. Focusing on continuous personal growth is another compelling way to draw people in. When you commit to improving yourself, whether through learning new skills, expanding your knowledge, or enhancing your physical and mental well-being, you create an aura of dynamic energy that captivates others. Personal growth signals to people that you're constantly evolving, which naturally makes you more interesting. When someone witnesses your dedication to becoming the best version of yourself, they may feel inspired to follow suit, fostering a new level of respect for you. Instead of fixating on their lack of attention or respect, direct your energy toward your growth. As you progress, others will begin to notice the changes in you, often sparking a newfound appreciation that may even border on admiration. Living with authenticity is another method to attract the attention and respect of others. In a world where people often feel the need to conform, authenticity stands out. When you remain true to your values, opinions, and choices, regardless of others' reactions, you embody a rare quality that people find intriguing. Authenticity shows that you are confident in who you are and that you are not swayed by the desire for approval. This quality can be incredibly appealing to those who may have previously undervalued you, as they see in you something that is increasingly rare and valuable. When you live authentically, you give others permission to do the same, creating a sense of admiration and even fascination with your ability to remain true to yourself. Cultivating a sense of mystery can also transform how others view you. When you don't reveal everything about yourself or make yourself readily available, you create a curiosity that can be captivating. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand, and by keeping certain aspects of your life private, you spark an interest that can lead to deeper respect and curiosity. This isn't about being secretive or distant, but about recognizing that you don't need to share every detail. When you hold back, people become more interested in learning about you on a deeper level. A sense of mystery signals that you are self-assured and don't feel the need to seek validation through constant sharing, making you appear more intriguing and valuable in their eyes. Another powerful approach is to lead with kindness and understanding, even in the face of disrespect. People often expect negativity to be met with equal force, so when you respond with kindness and patience, it disrupts their expectations. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, but choosing to remain composed and respectful. Kindness, when paired with strength, creates a powerful combination that others find both admirable and rare. When someone realizes that you won't be drawn into negative behavior, they begin to see you as a person of depth and integrity. This respect can evolve into fascination, as people are naturally drawn to those who embody compassion without compromising their self-worth. Lastly, practicing detachment from outcomes is a Stoic approach that can have a profound impact on how others perceive you. When you focus on your actions rather than the need for recognition or admiration, you create an energy that others find both inspiring and compelling. Detachment shows that you are not controlled by others' opinions, which is a quality people admire. When you release the desire for validation, others may find themselves drawn to your independence and sense of self-sufficiency. Detachment frees you from being affected by how others perceive you, creating an attractive aura of self-assuredness that naturally shifts how people see you. By embodying these qualities, you foster a sense of respect and interest in those who may not have initially valued you, without sacrificing your integrity or values. This approach transforms interactions, allowing others to see you as someone worth respecting and admiring. Each quality you cultivate contributes to a more empowered version of yourself, making you the kind of person that naturally attracts attention, interest, and genuine admiration. Continuing from understanding how to draw genuine respect and admiration, it's equally crucial to identify behaviors from others that you should never tolerate or accept, especially if they compromise your inner peace or sense of self-worth. Stoicism teaches us that while we can control our responses, we must also remain vigilant about the types of behaviors we allow to influence our lives. These behaviors can be subtle, yet they have a profound impact on your well-being. By recognizing and distancing yourself from them, you set a higher standard for the quality of relationships you cultivate, ensuring that your mental and emotional health remain strong and protected. Let's delve into behaviors that deserve no place in your life, not out of indifference, but because they diminish your peace and the respect you have for yourself. A behavior to avoid holding on to from anyone is constant criticism, especially if it's unwarranted or unconstructive. Constructive feedback is valuable, but criticism that serves no purpose other than to undermine your confidence is harmful. This type of behavior erodes self-worth, making you doubt your abilities and second-guess your decisions. Stoicism encourages us to develop a strong inner core, and enduring baseless criticism weakens that foundation. When someone's remarks are consistently negative and lack constructive intent, it's time to distance yourself emotionally. Refuse to allow their words to shape your self-perception. Your value is not determined by someone's harsh opinions, but by your own standards and growth. Another behavior that deserves no place in your life is manipulation. Manipulative actions, whether subtle or overt, are attempts to control and steer you away from your true intentions. Manipulators often disguise their influence as helpful advice or concern, but their intent is to sway you toward fulfilling their own needs. Allowing manipulation into your life blurs your sense of purpose and freedom, as you start acting based on others' desires rather than your own. To counter this, cultivate awareness and maintain your autonomy. Evaluate decisions and advice objectively, ensuring that they align with your own values and intentions. Free yourself from the chains of manipulation by setting boundaries, reinforcing your sense of self, and maintaining control over your life. Disrespect in any form is also something you should never hold on to. Disrespect can manifest as disregard for your time, your thoughts, or your boundaries. When someone regularly ignores your needs or dismisses your input, they're signaling a lack of value for your presence in their life. Holding on to relationships that allow for consistent disrespect weakens your self-worth, making you feel as if your voice is insignificant. Embracing Stoicism means recognizing your intrinsic value, and tolerating disrespect is incompatible with that self-regard. Uphold your worth by refusing to engage with those who don't honor your boundaries or contributions. By doing so, you reinforce that you're deserving of respect and won't compromise on this fundamental aspect of any relationship. Jealousy is another behavior that deserves no room in your life, as it brings toxic energy into your relationships. When someone displays jealousy toward your accomplishments, relationships, or happiness, they're signaling an inability to celebrate others' success. This behavior can manifest in subtle ways, such as downplaying your achievements or passive-aggressive comments. Jealousy can create tension and insecurity, making you feel as though you must downplay your success or happiness to avoid upsetting others. Refuse to absorb this negativity by surrounding yourself with people who genuinely celebrate your progress and joy. Holding on to relationships where jealousy lingers undermines your achievements and adds unnecessary strain. Instead, cultivate connections that embrace growth, support, and shared happiness. Apathy toward your feelings or experiences is also a behavior you should not tolerate. When someone shows indifference toward what you care about or fails to empathize with your challenges, it signals a lack of emotional investment in the relationship. Stoicism teaches us to value our inner peace, and apathy from others can disrupt that balance by making you feel undervalued or ignored. Relationships require mutual support and empathy, and enduring apathy is emotionally draining. Seek out those who engage with you thoughtfully, listening and responding to your needs, and allow the rest to fade. Your experiences are valid, and those who truly respect you will value them as much as you do. Another behavior to let go of is dishonesty. Honesty is the foundation of trust, and without it, any relationship, whether personal or professional, lacks stability. When someone frequently lies or withholds the truth, they undermine the integrity of the relationship and disrespect your intelligence. Dishonesty forces you into a state of vigilance, always questioning the sincerity of their words, which ultimately disrupts your peace. In a Stoic sense, honesty aligns with the values of authenticity and transparency. Holding on to relationships that lack honesty makes it difficult to cultivate a sense of trust and openness. Value those who are truthful, as they provide the security needed for a stable and supportive relationship. Victim mentality is another behavior you should avoid holding on to from others, as it can be deeply draining. Those with a persistent victim mindset often refuse to take accountability, expecting others to fix or bear the burden of their issues. This behavior shifts responsibility away from personal growth and places it on those around them, creating an unbalanced dynamic. When you're constantly absorbing someone else's problems without reciprocity or appreciation, it leads to resentment and burnout. Stoicism teaches self-responsibility, and supporting a victim mentality goes against this principle. Encourage accountability by setting limits on how much you're willing to shoulder for others. You can empathize without enabling, showing support in ways that encourage self-growth rather than dependency. Gossip and negativity are also behaviors to distance yourself from, as they bring unnecessary drama and low energy into your life. People who consistently gossip or speak poorly of others create an environment that lacks integrity and positivity. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what uplifts us and contributes to our growth, and gossip serves none of these purposes. Engaging in or even just being around this behavior diminishes your peace, often leading to unnecessary comparisons, judgment, or doubt. Release this energy by surrounding yourself with those who communicate with intention and respect. Choose conversations that inspire and bring clarity, avoiding relationships that pull you into negative cycles. By letting go of gossip and negativity, you make room for more meaningful connections grounded in mutual respect and positivity. A lack of appreciation is a behavior that shouldn't be tolerated, as it diminishes the value of your efforts and presence. When someone takes your kindness, support, or contributions for granted, they're failing to recognize the unique value you bring to the relationship. Lack of appreciation can lead to feelings of invisibility and resentment, making you question whether your efforts are truly valued. In Stoic philosophy, appreciation is linked to gratitude and acknowledgement of the present. When others lack appreciation, it shows a disconnect from these values. Surround yourself with people who recognize and value what you bring into their lives, as this reinforces mutual respect and a sense of fulfillment. By identifying these behaviors and setting boundaries, you create a life grounded in respect, peace, and integrity. Each of these behaviors, if left unchecked, erodes your inner strength, making it essential to address and release them. As you remove these influences from your life, you'll find a renewed sense of clarity and self-worth, allowing you to build relationships that genuinely enrich and support your growth. In this way, you cultivate an environment where respect, honesty, and appreciation thrive, aligning with Stoic values of self-discipline and wisdom. Transitioning from recognizing behaviors to avoid in others, it's equally vital to reflect on the words we choose, as these shape not only how others perceive us, but also how we engage with life's challenges. There are phrases and statements that a wise, self-aware person simply avoids. Guided by Stoic principles, a smart person learns to communicate in ways that reflect wisdom, respect, and understanding. Words carry immense power. They can either build connections or create misunderstandings, inspire or undermine, soothe or agitate. Here, we'll explore key expressions that a discerning person chooses not to say, as they're grounded in wisdom, self-respect, and clarity of mind. The first statement a wise person avoids is anything that places blame on others without accountability. Blaming others for our own situation or unhappiness can be tempting, but it detracts from personal responsibility. Stoicism emphasizes control over our own actions and reactions, urging us to take ownership rather than shifting blame. When we blame others, we relinquish our power, implying that we're merely victims of circumstance. By avoiding blame, a smart person stays rooted in self-control, addressing issues from a standpoint of personal accountability. This approach not only fosters growth, but also demonstrates emotional maturity, showing others that they're engaging with someone grounded in self-awareness and resilience. Another statement a wise person refrains from saying is anything that indulges in self-pity. Lamenting one's hardships or expecting others to recognize our struggles does little to inspire respect or empathy. Stoicism teaches us that difficulties are part of life's journey and are opportunities for growth. Expressing self-pity not only drains our energy, but also can alienate others, as it often seems self-centered. A discerning individual avoids statements that focus solely on their misfortunes. Instead, they focus on resilience, channeling their experiences into personal growth without the need for sympathy. This approach not only strengthens their inner resolve, but also earns the admiration of those around them. Another thing a smart person avoids saying is anything that involves gossip or speaking poorly of others. Gossip detracts from our integrity as it shifts focus to others' flaws instead of building understanding. When we engage in negative talk about others, we project insecurity and weakness, signaling that we derive value from others' missteps rather than our own virtues. Stoic wisdom encourages us to focus on what elevates us and to cultivate positive conversations. By choosing not to gossip, a wise person demonstrates restraint and respect, making it clear that their words are meant to uplift rather than diminish. This choice not only fosters trust, but also reflects a mind focused on meaningful engagement rather than triviality. Expressions of self-doubt or constantly second-guessing oneself is another type of statement a smart person avoids. While humility is essential, excessive self-doubt projects insecurity and can lead others to question our capabilities. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge our strengths as well as our limitations, grounding ourselves in an honest assessment of our abilities. By refraining from voicing unnecessary doubts, a wise person communicates confidence and self-belief, instilling trust in those around them. This doesn't mean ignoring one's weaknesses, but rather addressing them constructively without undermining oneself. The result is a balanced approach that conveys both competence and humility, qualities that are highly respected in any setting. Complaining about things beyond one's control is another form of expression that wise individuals avoid. When we complain about external events or unchangeable circumstances, we waste energy that could be directed toward constructive action. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. By avoiding complaints about things beyond their influence, wise people show resilience and adaptability, embodying a sense of calm acceptance. This approach not only preserves peace of mind, but also demonstrates maturity, as it shows that they're not easily perturbed by life's unpredictability. Avoiding such complaints sets a standard of strength and composure that others often find inspiring. Another statement a smart person refrains from is anything that implies they know everything. Arrogance and a refusal to listen signal a closed mind, which limits growth and alienates others. The Stoic ideal is grounded in humility, recognizing that knowledge is infinite and that every person we meet may know something we do not. By avoiding statements that imply they know it all, wise individuals stay open to learning and avoid unnecessary conflict. This openness not only fosters personal growth, but also creates an inviting environment for others to share their insights. Such humility is respected, as it reflects a mind willing to evolve and learn from diverse perspectives. Negative self-comparisons, such as, "I'll never be as successful as them," are also phrases a wise person avoids. Comparing oneself to others creates a mental barrier, often leading to feelings of inadequacy or resentment. Stoic wisdom advises us to focus on our own progress rather than measuring ourselves against others. By refraining from statements that diminish their own value through comparison, a smart person maintains their self-esteem and directs their energy toward personal improvement. This practice fosters a mindset of growth, reminding them that their worth is independent of others' achievements. Avoiding negative comparisons cultivates a strong, self-assured character, one that others admire and seek to emulate. Speaking in absolutes, such as "I always fail," is another habit that wise individuals avoid. Absolutes are rarely accurate and tend to reinforce negative self-perceptions, which limit growth. When we speak in extremes, we close off possibilities for change and improvement. Stoic philosophy encourages us to view life as fluid, acknowledging that outcomes can vary based on effort and circumstances. By avoiding absolute statements, a smart person remains open to progress, understanding that every situation is unique. This language fosters resilience, as it creates room for flexibility and adaptability. Others view this quality as a sign of a balanced mindset, one that remains optimistic even in challenging times. Another type of statement to avoid is anything that diminishes the accomplishments of others, such as, "They only succeeded because they got lucky." This behavior reflects envy and bitterness, qualities that are neither constructive nor admirable. Stoicism teaches us to appreciate others' achievements without feeling threatened, focusing on self-improvement rather than resentment. When we acknowledge others' successes graciously, we demonstrate confidence and a secure sense of self. By avoiding statements that undermine others, wise people show that they value growth over jealousy. This approach not only strengthens relationships, but also creates an atmosphere of mutual respect and support. Making excuses is also something a wise person avoids. Excuses shift responsibility away from oneself, implying a lack of accountability. When we make excuses, we signal that we are unwilling to confront our own shortcomings or challenges. Stoicism emphasizes ownership of one's actions, as this is central to personal growth and integrity. By avoiding excuses, wise individuals take responsibility for their choices and outcomes, which builds trust and respect from others. This mindset fosters self-discipline, as it requires acknowledging mistakes and learning from them. Taking responsibility creates a foundation of reliability and honesty, qualities that others find admirable and trustworthy. Wise individuals also avoid statements that downplay their achievements, such as, "It was nothing." While humility is a virtue, excessively dismissing one's accomplishments can appear disingenuous or insecure. Stoicism encourages us to acknowledge our strengths and contributions without arrogance. By accepting recognition gracefully, a wise person honors their own efforts and encourages others to appreciate hard work. This balance of humility and self-respect fosters authentic confidence, allowing others to see and value their accomplishments. Avoiding excessive modesty reinforces that while one remains humble, they are also aware of their contributions and strengths. Wise people avoid statements that criticize others for their differences or choices. Stoicism teaches us to respect the diverse paths that others may choose, recognizing that each person has their own journey. Criticizing others' choices implies a lack of understanding or tolerance, which diminishes our own character. By refraining from judgmental remarks, wise individuals show that they respect others' autonomy, choosing to focus on their own growth instead. This approach creates a positive, accepting environment where others feel valued and respected. Avoiding criticism fosters inclusivity, reflecting a mindset rooted in compassion and wisdom. Each of these phrases, avoided with intention and mindfulness, allows for clearer, more respectful interactions, grounded in Stoic values of self-control, humility, and focus. By choosing words carefully, a wise person not only preserves their peace, but also fosters stronger connections with others, built on mutual respect and understanding. Through this approach, communication becomes a tool for growth, integrity, and resilience, creating a life aligned with the principles of wisdom and authenticity. Building on the power of words and the wisdom to know what's best left unsaid, let's turn to the subtle yet impactful art of showing your value without speaking a word. This approach, rooted in Stoic wisdom, focuses on actions, presence, and character rather than statements. True worth doesn't demand validation or proclamation. It resonates naturally in what you do, how you conduct yourself, and the quiet strength you bring into every space. Demonstrating value without needing to articulate it creates an undeniable presence, one that speaks volumes and leaves a lasting impression. One of the most powerful ways to demonstrate your value is by consistently keeping your word. When people know that you follow through on what you say, they come to see you as reliable and trustworthy. Consistency in your actions reflects a solid character, revealing that you are someone people can depend on. This reliability is rare and deeply valued, building a reputation that speaks for itself. Stoic wisdom emphasizes the importance of integrity, and by honoring your commitments, you prove that your promises are as solid as your actions. This consistency quietly builds respect and admiration, as others understand that you won't waver in your principles or abandon your responsibilities. Excellence in your work is another silent testament to your value. Whatever your role or task, dedicating yourself fully and paying attention to details reflects a commitment to quality that doesn't require words. When others see your dedication, they understand your value without needing an explanation. Striving for excellence in everything you do shows that you respect your work and aim to bring out the best in yourself. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, and by investing fully in your work, you communicate dedication and skill. This approach not only builds your reputation, but also fosters a personal sense of pride and accomplishment, both of which are silently communicated to those around you. Another way to demonstrate value is through emotional resilience. Life often brings challenges, but how you handle these moments reveals your strength and stability. By remaining calm and composed under pressure, you show others that you have the ability to face adversity without losing control. Emotional resilience is a trait that draws admiration because it signals self-mastery, a core Stoic principle. When others see that you don't react impulsively or allow circumstances to dictate your mood, they recognize the quiet power within you. This unshakable calm makes you a source of stability, silently reflecting a strength that speaks louder than any words could. Being a good listener is also a powerful, silent way to demonstrate your value. In a world where many are eager to speak and be heard, listening well is rare and memorable. When you genuinely listen, others feel valued and understood. This attentiveness signals empathy and respect, qualities that naturally draw people to you. Stoicism teaches the importance of understanding others without judgment, and by listening with an open mind, you build deeper connections. People remember those who make them feel seen and heard, and this quiet act of presence strengthens relationships, allowing others to see your worth without you needing to announce it. Setting healthy boundaries is another unspoken demonstration of value. Boundaries show that you respect yourself and your time, which naturally encourages others to respect you as well. By valuing your own space and limits, you communicate that you are secure in who you are and won't compromise your principles. This is a form of self-respect that doesn't require words to be effective. Others notice when you stand firm in your values, and they come to understand that you won't be easily swayed or taken for granted. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining inner peace, and boundaries are an essential part of this. By calmly enforcing your limits, you project a sense of self-worth that speaks volumes. Generosity in action is another way to showcase value without verbal explanation. When you give without expecting anything in return, whether it's time, support, or knowledge, you create an impression of kindness and abundance. This generosity isn't about gaining approval, it's about genuinely helping others. When people see that you contribute selflessly, they understand your value through your actions. Stoicism teaches us to act in ways that align with our virtues, and generosity reflects both compassion and strength. This silent giving leaves a lasting impact, as people remember those who uplift them without any need for acknowledgement. Maintaining a disciplined life is another way to convey value non-verbally. Discipline shows that you are committed to growth, self-improvement, and focus. When others see the effort you put into maintaining your habits, routines, and personal goals, they respect the determination and resilience that guide you. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of self-discipline as a path to freedom, as it allows you to live in alignment with your values without being controlled by whims or distractions. This quiet strength, rooted in routine and intentional living, is powerful, as it signals that you have mastery over yourself and are committed to becoming better each day. A strong work ethic is another characteristic that demonstrates value without words. Whether people observe you arriving early, staying focused on tasks, or going the extra mile, your work ethic speaks for itself. A diligent approach reflects dedication, reliability, and a respect for the tasks at hand. When others see this level of commitment, they understand your value through the quality and consistency of your work. Stoicism teaches us to give our best effort regardless of recognition, and this focus on excellence builds an unspoken reputation for competence and dedication. People naturally trust and admire those who show up fully for their responsibilities. Adaptability, or the ability to respond positively to change, is another non-verbal expression of value. Life often brings unexpected turns, and how you handle these transitions reflects your resilience and flexibility. When others see that you can adjust to new circumstances with a calm and open mind, they understand your strength in facing the unknown. Adaptability is a core Stoic value, as it demonstrates a willingness to embrace what you cannot control while making the best of the situation. This mindset is inspiring to others, as it shows a quiet confidence and a readiness to thrive regardless of external conditions. Maintaining a positive outlook is another way to express value without needing to speak. When you carry optimism and encourage others, you create an uplifting presence that people are naturally drawn to. This doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but rather choosing to focus on solutions and seeing the potential for growth in every situation. A positive attitude reflects strength and resilience, showing that you are grounded enough to handle challenges with grace. Stoicism encourages finding peace within, and this internal calm often translates into a hopeful perspective that positively impacts those around you. When others see this, they recognize a rare and valuable presence. Respect for others, shown through actions and gestures, is a silent yet powerful way to convey your own value. Stoicism teaches us to approach others with understanding and compassion, recognizing their inherent worth. When you treat people with respect, acknowledging their views, giving them space to speak, and honoring their boundaries, you demonstrate a high level of character. This respect isn't about seeking approval, but about upholding your own values. People remember those who treat them with kindness and fairness, and this naturally enhances their view of you. By embodying respect, you reveal a character that is both wise and admirable. Self-sufficiency is another quality that quietly communicates value. When you demonstrate that you are capable of managing your own needs and responsibilities, others see that you are dependable and independent. Self-sufficiency signals that you aren't reliant on others for validation or support, which builds respect. Stoicism values self-reliance, as it fosters a sense of freedom and autonomy. When others observe that you can thrive on your own, they understand your strength and resilience. This independence doesn't mean isolating oneself, but rather finding contentment and security within, a quality that others admire deeply. Each of these actions and qualities speaks to the silent strength that Stoic wisdom encourages. By embodying these values, you naturally demonstrate your worth without needing to declare it, creating a presence that others respect and remember. In every choice and action, you reflect a grounded, self-aware character that aligns with Stoic ideals, inspiring others through example rather than words. This approach not only builds a reputation for reliability, integrity, and strength, but also fosters a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, grounded in self-assurance and wisdom. Through these practices, you embody value in the most impactful way, by letting your actions speak louder than words. Building on the wisdom of demonstrating value through actions, let's delve into the profound importance of controlling what you say, a practice central to Stoic philosophy. Words have power. They can uplift, harm, inspire, or wound. Learning to control speech not only reflects inner discipline, but also builds trust, respect, and clarity in relationships. Stoicism teaches that mastery over one's words is as vital as mastery over one's actions. Speaking with intention and restraint transforms how others perceive you and strengthens your inner peace. Let's explore the ways this principle unfolds in everyday life, allowing your words to carry meaning without undermining your integrity or peace of mind. The first element of controlling what you say is choosing silence over unnecessary commentary. In many situations, silence can communicate more effectively than words. By refraining from speaking impulsively or commenting on every matter, you demonstrate a disciplined mind, one that doesn't feel compelled to react immediately. This practice creates a calm aura around you, allowing others to see you as thoughtful and composed. Stoicism teaches that silence often serves as a shield, protecting your peace by preventing unnecessary conflicts or misunderstandings. By remaining silent when words are not needed, you show that you value both your own peace and the clarity of the moment, fostering an environment of quiet respect and presence. Another critical aspect of controlling your speech is to avoid speaking negatively about others, even in their absence. Gossip and criticism not only reflect poorly on the speaker, but also fill the mind with unnecessary negativity. Stoic wisdom encourages us to focus on self-improvement rather than judging others. When you choose not to engage in negative talk about others, you avoid clouding your mind with unnecessary judgments and opinions. This restraint reflects maturity, as it shows that you prefer to channel your energy toward positive thoughts and actions. By resisting the urge to speak ill of others, you create an environment of respect and trust, as people around you feel secure in your integrity. Expressing gratitude instead of complaints is another way to control your words meaningfully. Complaining often becomes a habit, detracting from your inner peace and projecting dissatisfaction outward. Stoicism encourages us to embrace gratitude, focusing on what we have rather than what we lack. By choosing words of gratitude over complaints, you elevate not only your mood, but also the atmosphere around you. This choice reflects resilience, as it shows that you have the strength to look beyond challenges and appreciate what is within your control. Gratitude in speech builds a reputation for positivity and contentment, qualities that naturally draw people to you and inspire them. One of the most profound ways to exercise control over speech is through active listening. Many people listen only to respond, but a Stoic approach encourages listening to understand. By allowing others to express themselves fully without interrupting or rushing to interject, you demonstrate respect for their thoughts and feelings. Active listening is a silent way of showing that you value their presence, which fosters deeper, more meaningful connections. This kind of listening also helps you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. The choice to listen before speaking reflects a grounded and attentive character, creating a space where genuine dialogue can thrive. Being intentional with words is also a critical aspect of controlling speech. Before speaking, consider whether your words add value to the conversation. Stoic wisdom emphasizes speaking only when necessary, ensuring that each word serves a purpose. Intentional speech avoids idle talk, focusing on what is meaningful and relevant. This approach not only enhances communication, but also reinforces that your words carry weight, as they are thoughtfully chosen. By being selective with your words, you show others that you don't speak merely for the sake of it. Instead, you contribute purposefully, creating a reputation for wisdom and discernment. Choosing not to react to provocations is another powerful practice in speech control. There will always be situations where others may attempt to provoke a reaction, testing your patience and composure. However, responding with restraint rather than allowing emotions to dictate your words reflects a Stoic mindset. By not reacting to provocations, you demonstrate a level of control that disarms the other person, showing that their words do not hold power over you. This approach not only protects your peace, but also earns respect, as it shows you are grounded enough not to be easily swayed by others' negativity. This calm response often diffuses tension, allowing for a more constructive and balanced interaction. Avoiding self-deprecating language is another practice in speech control. While humility is valuable, constantly speaking negatively about yourself can lower self-esteem and influence how others view you. Stoicism encourages self-acceptance and the acknowledgement of personal strengths and limitations. By refraining from self-deprecating remarks, you project confidence without arrogance, showing that you respect yourself. This choice of language reinforces self-worth, creating a balanced view of yourself that others will naturally respect. When you speak about yourself with appreciation and honesty, you inspire others to view themselves with the same balanced perspective. Practicing forgiveness through speech is also a way to control what you say. Holding on to grudges and expressing resentment in words only deepens emotional wounds. Stoicism teaches us to accept the past and focus on what we can change in the present. By speaking words of forgiveness and letting go of past grievances, you free yourself from emotional burdens. This practice reflects inner strength, as it shows that you are resilient enough to move forward without being anchored by negativity. When others see your willingness to forgive, they understand that you prioritize peace over resentment, an attitude that fosters a positive, open environment. Setting boundaries through speech in a calm, assertive manner is another essential practice. While boundaries are crucial for maintaining healthy relationships, how you communicate them can make all the difference. Stoicism encourages clarity and directness, and setting boundaries respectfully aligns with this principle. By expressing your limits without aggression or passive aggression, you demonstrate that you respect both yourself and the other person. This approach helps you maintain your peace without creating unnecessary conflict, allowing relationships to flourish within mutually understood boundaries. Setting boundaries through calm, measured words builds a foundation of respect and ensures that your needs are understood and honored. Choosing clarity over ambiguity in speech is also a powerful tool for communicating value. Ambiguous statements often lead to misunderstandings, causing unnecessary tension or confusion. Stoicism emphasizes clear and truthful communication, as it strengthens relationships and fosters trust. By expressing yourself with clarity, you minimize the risk of misinterpretation, ensuring that your intentions are understood. This straightforward approach reflects honesty and integrity, qualities that others appreciate. When people see that your words are clear and reliable, they view you as someone who is dependable and trustworthy, further reinforcing the value of controlled, thoughtful speech. Expressing appreciation openly yet genuinely is another key way to control your speech positively. Complimenting others or acknowledging their contributions doesn't diminish your own value. Instead, it reflects generosity and strength. Stoicism teaches us to celebrate others' virtues without jealousy or fear. By expressing appreciation sincerely, you build connections and show that you are secure enough to value others. This choice creates a positive impact as people feel recognized and respected in your presence. Appreciating others openly reinforces that you value kindness and community, inspiring similar positivity in return. Choosing words that focus on solutions rather than problems is a powerful way to demonstrate control over speech. Stoicism encourages focusing on what can be changed rather than dwelling on obstacles. By framing conversations around solutions, you inspire optimism and encourage constructive thinking. This approach reflects resilience, as it shows that you are proactive and future-focused. People naturally gravitate toward those who offer solutions rather than merely highlighting issues, as it fosters an environment of growth and possibility. Solution-oriented language builds a reputation for optimism and resourcefulness, qualities that enrich both personal and professional relationships. Mastering control over what you say aligns deeply with Stoic wisdom, transforming your interactions and strengthening your inner peace. Each aspect of thoughtful speech, whether through silence, clarity, appreciation, or restraint, cultivates a presence that others respect and trust. By consciously choosing words that uplift, clarify, and reflect your values, you create a foundation of wisdom, strength, and integrity that resonates in every interaction. This approach not only enriches your relationships, but also reinforces the principles of Stoicism, guiding you toward a life grounded in inner peace and purpose. Through this mastery of speech, you become a living example of the power of intentional communication, embodying wisdom without needing to declare it. Moving from mastering the control of speech, let's dive into Stoic principles that can help you achieve your goals and shape your life meaningfully. Stoicism offers timeless strategies that align internal strength with practical action, helping you approach life with clarity and purpose. This philosophy doesn't promise instant success, but offers a roadmap to steady, lasting progress. Through focus, resilience, and intention, Stoic wisdom guides you in manifesting your desires by aligning them with self-discipline, patience, and a grounded approach. Let's explore the Stoic secrets that enable you to turn aspirations into reality and create a life of meaningful achievements. One foundational Stoic approach to making things happen is aligning goals with values. When your pursuits resonate deeply with your core values, you create a natural motivation that keeps you steady through challenges. Goals that are tied to external validation or societal expectations often lose appeal when difficulties arise. But if your objectives are aligned with personal virtues, they gain enduring significance. This approach ensures that every effort is meaningful and the commitment you bring remains strong, regardless of obstacles. By grounding goals in values, you create a sense of purpose that fuels progress without the need for constant external motivation. Another Stoic secret is cultivating a focused mind, which involves directing energy solely toward what you want to achieve, free from distractions. In a world filled with constant noise and demands, remaining focused on your own path is essential. Stoics advise filtering out unnecessary thoughts and activities, allowing the mind to concentrate fully on the task at hand. When you focus only on what matters to your goals, you conserve energy and enhance productivity. This commitment to focus reflects an unwavering dedication that not only accelerates progress, but also develops mental resilience. By keeping distractions at bay, you give your aspirations the space and energy they need to grow. Embracing patience is another vital Stoic strategy for achieving goals. Stoicism teaches that real change takes time, and impatience can lead to frustration and abandonment of purpose. By accepting that meaningful accomplishments unfold gradually, you free yourself from the anxiety of rushing. Patience fosters a steady, calm approach that allows for consistent effort without burnout. When you view time as an ally rather than an adversary, each step becomes valuable, contributing to growth without the pressure of immediate results. Patience enables you to navigate setbacks with grace, knowing that persistence will eventually lead you to success. Cultivating resilience is essential in making everything you want happen, as life inevitably brings challenges. Stoicism encourages resilience by reminding us that adversity is part of the journey, not a barrier to it. By accepting difficulties as opportunities to strengthen yourself, you gain the mental fortitude to persevere. Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship, but about facing it without losing sight of your goal. This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones, allowing you to progress despite challenges. Resilience ensures that you remain focused and adaptable, turning setbacks into valuable lessons that move you closer to achieving your ambitions. Accepting responsibility for outcomes is another Stoic principle that empowers you to achieve what you want. By taking ownership of your actions and choices, you foster a proactive mindset that leaves no room for blame or excuses. Responsibility places control back in your hands, reinforcing that your progress depends on your efforts. Stoicism teaches that while we can't control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This approach builds a sense of agency, encouraging you to make decisions that align with your goals. When you embrace responsibility, you become an active participant in your journey, making choices that steadily bring your aspirations to fruition. Practicing self-discipline is another Stoic secret to achieving goals. Self-discipline enables you to stay consistent in your actions, even when motivation wanes. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of controlling impulses, suggesting that a disciplined mind is the foundation of a fulfilling life. By committing to regular practices that support your goals, whether in health, learning, or career, you build a routine that drives continuous progress. Discipline is the quiet force behind achievement, guiding you through moments of doubt or distraction. This unwavering commitment ensures that you're always moving forward, creating a steady path toward the life you envision. Focusing on the present moment is also key to Stoic success. Often, goals feel overwhelming because we dwell on the entirety of what's required to reach them. Stoicism teaches us to concentrate on the task at hand, allowing the future to unfold as a result of consistent effort. When you stay fully engaged in the present, each step feels manageable and progress becomes a natural outcome. This approach not only reduces stress, but also increases the quality of your work, as your attention is undivided. By focusing on today's actions rather than tomorrow's results, you create a foundation of achievement, making gradual strides toward your goals. Practicing gratitude, even in small moments, aligns with Stoic wisdom and enhances your journey to achievement. When you appreciate the process rather than focusing solely on the destination, you create a mindset that finds fulfillment in each step. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's within reach, creating a sense of abundance that fuels motivation. This perspective helps you remain positive, viewing challenges as valuable parts of your growth rather than obstacles. Gratitude fosters a resilient, hopeful outlook, encouraging you to keep going with a balanced sense of satisfaction and purpose. Embracing flexibility is another Stoic principle that supports achievement. Goals often require adaptability, as life rarely follows a perfectly linear path. Stoicism teaches that while we should set clear intentions, we must also remain open to change. By being flexible, you allow yourself to adjust to new information or unexpected events, maintaining momentum even when plans shift. This adaptability prevents setbacks from derailing your progress, enabling you to stay aligned with your goals regardless of external circumstances. Flexibility fosters resilience, as it ensures that you can navigate change with grace, keeping your vision intact. Controlling your emotions is a critical Stoic practice for achieving what you want. Emotional reactions can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive decisions that may hinder progress. Stoicism teaches us to observe emotions without being controlled by them, fostering a calm and balanced approach to life's challenges. By regulating your emotions, you make thoughtful choices that support your goals, avoiding actions driven by fleeting feelings. This emotional control strengthens your resolve, as it allows you to remain focused and clear-headed even in stressful situations. Mastery over emotions ensures that your actions are aligned with purpose rather than driven by momentary impulses. Using setbacks as learning experiences is another Stoic approach to success. Failures and obstacles are inevitable, but Stoicism encourages us to see them as opportunities for growth. Each setback provides insights that refine your approach, helping you understand what works and what doesn't. By viewing challenges as teachers rather than deterrents, you cultivate resilience and adaptability. This perspective empowers you to learn from every experience, enhancing your skills and deepening your understanding. Using setbacks as stepping stones transforms your journey, ensuring that each challenge brings you closer to your goals. Emphasizing personal growth over external rewards is a powerful Stoic secret for achieving fulfillment. While accomplishments are important, Stoicism teaches that true satisfaction comes from internal growth rather than external validation. By focusing on becoming a better version of yourself, more resilient, disciplined and wise, you create a foundation of lasting fulfillment. This approach aligns your efforts with intrinsic motivation, making the journey itself rewarding. When you view growth as the ultimate goal, each step becomes valuable, regardless of external outcomes. This inner focus ensures that success is grounded in self-development, bringing a deeper sense of accomplishment. Embodying a mindset of resilience and adaptability helps in making everything you want happen. Life is unpredictable, and a Stoic approach prepares you to handle change without losing sight of your goals. Resilience allows you to persevere despite obstacles, while adaptability ensures that you can pivot when necessary. This combination of strength and flexibility creates a mindset that thrives in any circumstance, moving steadily toward your vision regardless of challenges. By embracing resilience and adaptability, you cultivate an approach that is both strong and flexible, enabling you to make steady progress toward your goals, no matter what life presents. These Stoic principles create a powerful framework for achieving what you desire, fostering resilience, focus, and inner strength. By grounding your actions in values, embracing patience, and adapting to change, you cultivate a mindset that brings lasting fulfillment and success. Each practice reinforces the other, creating a balanced approach to achievement that aligns with inner peace and purpose. Through these Stoic secrets, you build a life where everything you want becomes possible, not by force, but through steady, intentional progress. This approach not only helps you achieve your goals, but also shapes you into a person of character, grounded in wisdom and clarity. Building on the powerful Stoic methods for achieving what you want, let's explore Stoic techniques that foster a heightened intelligence, intellectual, emotional, and practical, that empowers you to navigate life with clarity and insight. True intelligence, according to Stoic philosophy, is not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about using wisdom to make sound decisions, manage emotions, and understand the world deeply. These techniques help develop a sharper, more resilient mind that not only comprehends, but also thrives in complex situations. By integrating these approaches, you can elevate your thinking and find solutions to life's challenges with an enlightened, Stoic perspective. The first Stoic technique for enhancing intelligence is practicing deep self-reflection. Regular self-reflection strengthens awareness by prompting you to examine your thoughts, behaviors, and motivations critically. Stoics recommend this practice as it encourages self-honesty, which is essential for growth. By reflecting on your actions daily, you gain insight into patterns and areas for improvement, enabling smarter choices in the future. This process deepens your understanding of yourself, ensuring that your actions align with your goals and values. Reflection transforms your mind into one that learns continually, refining your intelligence through self-awareness and internal feedback. Another powerful Stoic technique is cultivating emotional detachment. Emotional detachment doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. Rather, it involves observing them without letting them dictate your actions. By learning to separate your emotions from your responses, you prevent impulsive decisions that cloud your judgment. Stoicism teaches that an emotionally stable mind is a wise mind. When you practice detachment, You respond to situations thoughtfully, guided by reason instead of reaction. This technique enhances emotional intelligence, allowing you to face challenges calmly and logically, which in turn supports clearer, more intelligent thinking. Learning to see things from multiple perspectives is another Stoic practice that enriches intelligence. When you intentionally consider different viewpoints, you expand your understanding beyond your own experiences. This approach develops empathy and objectivity as it encourages you to step outside your biases and assumptions. Stoicism promotes this technique to help you make fair, well-rounded decisions. By evaluating issues from various angles, you cultivate an adaptive mind that can grasp complex situations and solutions. This versatility strengthens intelligence as it creates a mental flexibility that enriches problem-solving and enhances comprehension. Accepting the inevitability of change is another Stoic approach that supports a resilient and intelligent mind. Life is constantly in flux, and resisting change can lead to unnecessary stress and rigid thinking. Stoics advise embracing change as a fundamental part of existence, helping you remain adaptable and forward-thinking. When you accept change, you develop a mindset that anticipates and adjusts to new circumstances with ease. This adaptability enables you to stay sharp, approaching each shift as an opportunity for growth rather than a setback. An intelligence rooted in adaptability is prepared for the unexpected, making you more capable and versatile in handling life's transitions. Practicing restraint in speech is another Stoic technique that fosters wisdom and intelligence. Speaking with intention rather than impulsively allows you to consider the impact of your words. Stoics value silence as a way to reflect on what truly needs to be said, ensuring that each statement is thoughtful and clear. By practicing restraint, you reduce the likelihood of misunderstandings and create a space for deeper listening. This habit enhances your intellectual clarity, as it teaches you to value quality over quantity in communication. Restraint in speech reflects a mind that prioritizes wisdom and intentionality, enhancing both understanding and respect in interactions. Another technique for sharpening intelligence is cultivating curiosity without attachment to outcomes. Curiosity encourages exploration and learning, while non-attachment ensures that your mind remains open and flexible. When you approach life with a genuine desire to learn, free from the pressure of specific results, you allow insights to emerge naturally. Stoicism teaches that growth occurs best when curiosity is unhindered by expectations. This approach broadens your knowledge base and deepens understanding, as you're more focused on the process than on validation. A curious mind stays youthful and engaged, continuously expanding its intelligence by embracing new ideas and perspectives. Building resilience through discomfort is another Stoic technique that strengthens intelligence. Stoics often practiced voluntary discomfort, like enduring cold or fasting, to build mental toughness and adaptability. Facing discomfort intentionally enhances your capacity to remain steady under pressure, training your mind to function optimally even in challenging conditions. This resilience translates into greater clarity, as your thoughts are less likely to be clouded by stress or discomfort. By willingly embracing challenges, you develop a mind that sees beyond temporary struggles, focusing on long-term growth. This perspective refines intelligence, ensuring that you remain clear-headed and adaptable regardless of circumstances. Stoic journaling, or recording thoughts and observations, is another effective practice for building intelligence. Writing helps organize your thoughts, clarifying complex ideas and emotions. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius used journaling to reflect on their beliefs and actions, reinforcing self-awareness and accountability. By writing regularly, you train your mind to think critically and examine ideas from various angles. This exercise enhances intellectual discipline as it forces you to articulate and assess your thoughts clearly. Journaling transforms abstract concepts into tangible insights, deepening your understanding and creating a record of wisdom that grows over time. Embracing the Stoic dichotomy of control, focusing only on what you can influence, also enhances intelligence. By distinguishing between what's within your control and what isn't, you free your mind from unnecessary concerns and wasted energy. This approach encourages strategic thinking as it directs your attention toward areas where you can make a difference. Practicing the dichotomy of control develops a focused mind that isn't bogged down by external factors. This clarity allows for more effective problem solving as you approach issues logically rather than emotionally. An intelligence grounded in control remains resilient as it understands where to invest energy for the greatest impact. Regular meditation on mortality, or memento mori, is another Stoic technique that fosters a wise and thoughtful mind. Reflecting on the finite nature of life brings a sense of urgency and purpose, encouraging you to prioritize what truly matters. This practice deepens appreciation for the present moment, as it reminds you of life's brevity. By meditating on mortality, you cultivate a perspective that values meaningful action over trivial pursuits. This focus enhances intelligence as it teaches you to allocate time and energy wisely, avoiding distractions. A mind aware of mortality is more discerning, valuing depth over superficiality in both thought and action. Together, these Stoic techniques create a pathway to superior intelligence, rooted in clarity, resilience, and intentionality. By applying these practices, you cultivate a mind that's not only knowledgeable but also wise, prepared to navigate life's complexities with insight and calm. This intelligence isn't defined by academic learning alone, but by a holistic understanding of self, others, and the world. Through reflection, resilience, curiosity, and focus, you align with Stoic ideals, building an intelligence that transcends mere knowledge. Instead, it embodies a mindful, insightful approach to life, creating a presence that's both powerful and wise. As you journey through life, learning to protect yourself from toxic influences is essential for inner peace and personal growth. These Stoic strategies serve as a shield, empowering you to recognize and deflect behaviors that drain your energy, undermine your confidence, or cloud your vision. Whether it's setting firm boundaries, mastering non-reactivity, practicing emotional detachment, or embracing self-care, each approach is a step toward reclaiming control over your well-being. By staying aligned with your values and calmly navigating challenging situations, you cultivate a life where you thrive without compromise. Now, share your thoughts. Which strategy resonated most with you? Drop a comment below. Let's create a space for support and learning. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and join our community dedicated to living intentionally and embracing Stoic wisdom in everyday life.